Now let me go look at YouTube real quick.
Yeah, yeah. Do me that favor. So now it is live because I see your message. Damn, that was weird.
Yay!
That was weird, wasn't it?
You only did an hour and a half without being live.
Shut up.
We've all done it.
It was well worth it. I was just sitting here having a good old time by myself. But then I got lonely and I'm like, there's a crafting gamer. Hey, bro.
Then you're
Uh,
like, where is everybody? Why hasn't anybody said anything? Did I get banned? And then you're like, I gotta get a hold of my brother because he's smart.
that's kind of what happened because after, like, before I contacted you, I went and looked at my YouTube studio and I'm like, am I banned? And no, it just says that one of my videos can't be showed in some countries, but it doesn't count as a strike. And that's because I showed the 3 fight scenes between Fade and
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Paul. And apparently, whichever movie theaters own those fight scenes were like, hey, you know, uh, we're claiming that. And it's like, okay, claim it. Enjoy all the money you get from it, too.
Hey, TTP. What's your American wants you to share the link?
Yeah, I got to reshare it because this is a totally new stream.
Because you're totally a noob.
You know, you just love it when I F up so that you can dog me out on it.
I'm not trying to dog you out, my brother.
Don't lie. You're like, ha, I
I
can
just got
finally
back.
talk shit about him.
I'm going to grill out some burgers tonight and make some guacamole.
You gonna hang out with your brother on Monday
Yeah, for a little bit.
for a long bit
No, no, but I
because
love you.
you know it's your brother, and you're like, I love my brother,
I
and
love
you
my brother.
hang out with him a lot.
And that wasn't a Beretta I was showing you last night as a Stoger.
A Stoger,
ST9 Tactical. That's companies owned by Barella, the shotgun company.
the Italian shotgun company.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make good shotguns. Like a lot of people who are professional.
No, not your Echo, but I'm ready to suit up and go help take back the Holy Land.
That would be my answer too. It's like I was talking about that earlier when I was streaming for an hour and a half, and apparently somehow wasn't actually streaming.
You were on Twitch.
I was on Twitch and nothing else. And I hate to say it, but I feel like there is something with Western Europeans specifically. I don't know what it is, but they ain't got it. Like America, we got it, right? Like even some of them, when they're being honest, will admit it. You know, it's like they will bow down and just take anything, you know? Like their government tells them we're going to import, 55 billion freaking rapists from Pakistan, and they'll complain a little bit, but in the end they'll be like, fine, whatever, tally ho, whatever, right? So the spirit that caused us to tell King George to go get fucked, they just don't have that. They just don't have it. And
I'm
it's really
always like,
sad.
when people are like, are you for Pakistan or Israel? And I'm like, no, there is a third option there.
America?
No. King Baldwin, baby.
Oh, yeah. I am from the Kingdom of Jerusalem.
That's right.
People be like, hold on now. Yeah. And like the prophecy said, as long as King Baldwin lived, Jerusalem would never fall. And that prophecy was true. Saladin never took Jerusalem until after the death of how you doing, Hunter?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing today?
Pretty good. I don't know who you are. Are you the ultra American?
Yeah, that's me. Hunter's my first name.
Oh,
It says it under its title.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, not your echo. I don't know if you watch. There's a channel on YouTube that does deep dives into what's going on with the special military action, as some people, Putin calls it. And apparently it's same shit as last month. Russians are breaking through everywhere, and the Ukrainians are simply unable to stop them. The
I
Russians
stopped
have
giving
gained
them.
they gained like another 50 kilometers into Ukraine. It's like, so Zelensky really has a choice here. He can either be like, look, let's do this peace deal, or Ukraine will cease to exist because Russia will just go all the way to the Polish border.
I'm not even paying attention because
Yeah, me neither anymore. I got tired of it.
Well, it's like our president said, there's like this whole ocean between us and them. So it's really not our problem, because maybe the Europeans, if they've got some gumption, might want to do something, but we're all the way over here, doing what we're doing. So it's like Russia wants Ukraine. I'm okay with it. I mean, Ukraine's not a real country anyway. Oh, you baby possum taking a nap. But yeah, the Brits take back their motherland. The other thing is, it's not my motherland.
I don't know how the Brits can take back the motherland when they can't even keep hold of their own land.
Well, he's talking about Britain as their motherland.
Oh, okay.
See, I don't have a motherland according to my my thing that I did, my DNA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a motherland.
I do.
However, Hunter and I do have, very much so, a fatherland.
I have a motherland any place I decide because I'm a colonizer.
Dude, you totally messed up where I was going with that.
I know where you're going with it, my German brother.
Yeah, we're predominantly Germanic. So
Which still blows
no
my
motherland
mind.
for us. We serve as fatherland, the right.
Which that still blows my mind considering our last name.
Yeah, how did we end up with an Irish last name and yet be so German? It's like sometimes I wonder if that company just lied. Like they spun a wheel and they're like, okay, for the first thing, they're going to get 40% spin the wheel. Germanic. It's like,
hey, I got a motherland. I actually know exactly where my family came from. At least on my dad's side.
Yeah, England.
Lancashire.
And Andre was just asking if we're ready to suit up and go try to save England. But I was saying that I don't think England can be saved because the British are such pussies. And I know that's a horrible word, and I'm sorry if you guys are offended.
Oh, it can be saved, but is it worth it?
But look, they keep electing Pakistani or Indian people into all of their government. I mean, The only thing stupider than that would be like electing a Somalian to be like the representative from a Midwest state.
Oh, like we've done.
Exactly.
Yeah, Kevin.
So I'm not saying that we're completely, immune to the disease of electing people that hate our country to positions of power, because we do it too. But
Heck, we just had like an Indian who apparently did an illegal U-turn in a truck. You know,
In Florida on the
you know,
turnpike, killed three
yeah.
people. In America illegally, but he was able to get a
Yeah, I've been hearing about that on and off all
license
day.
and able to get his license, his commercial license in California, of course.
yeah, I've been hearing a lot of illegals have been doing the over-the-road trucking. I think for Swift mostly.
Or fly-by-night private companies.
Right. I was just making a joke because of Swift.
Yeah, Stevie
Oh,
Wonder's
by the way, this is going to be a little blurry, but I have to show it for Leth. I doubt it'll focus in, unfortunately.
Lobo, you colored
That's
his
cool.
eyes in.
Yeah, I got it. I colored his eyes in. He's got his mustache and goatee. Yeah, he's ready to rock.
Friggin' bastard.
I'm thinking he's at least level 4 in the Marvel superheroes game. At least a rank 4 out of 6.
Lobo's DC.
What's up, homie? What?
Yeah, he's DC,
Lobo's-
but
Yeah,
he's
but the problem is the new game that come out was put out by Marvel, and it has all the rules to make your own heroes. So
okay, yeah.
Matt and I have had multiple conversations about DC characters we really like, and what would their power level be if you chucked them into the Marvel universe.
what would Statics be for that
Static
game?
X?
No, Static Shock.
Static
Cold
Shock.
was so cold. We
Yeah.
are.
He's got electrical powers.
I don't know. I'd have to look at his list of powers.
I know there was a Kickstarter not too long ago where they did reprints of second and third edition the DC Heroes game, but it was only for the physical. They didn't offer PDF options.
See, I accidentally downloaded. No, I didn't accidentally. I downloaded the PDF for free from Scribe.
Oh yeah, I found so much of that stuff out there.
And then I
ordered the wrong
I
book.
was buying the core book, but instead I bought the Spider-Verse book, which was just all about the 25 different Spider-Men and all their enemies.
Well, they're finally getting their heads out of their butts. They're offering PDFs to purchase on drive-through now instead of just keeping it towards either the physical book or that Demiplane site. Because originally you couldn't get the PDFs on drive-through. They finally smartened up.
Right. So, I mean, it did have one of the villains from the cartoons I always kind of liked, Electro.
Oh yeah.
The one that wears all green but has the yellow weird freaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the classic one. They've redone Electro's design so many different times over the years.
Oh, Rhino is in there too. It's like, look at me, I'm a super villain. I like to run around and hit things with my head.
Electro did not get much time in the '90s Spider-Man cartoon. He came in very late in that series.
I was more prone to Shocker for Spider-Man villains when I first started watching it. Shocker was one of my favorites.
I think one thing we all agreed on the other night is that Spider-Man had like the best villains.
Yeah, he does.
That's why I wish they had just kept Tobey Maguire on, just only kept him as Spider-Man, no one else, and they could have just kept on going with all the villains. Because you would see him being married to MJ, having the kids, still fighting, get a Fantastic Four crossover in there at some point.
There was an issue with that, though. It was Sony Pictures Entertainment that made it, and Marvel wanted the rights
Stupidity
back.
is the issue. I have.
Who made the first
Marvel watching this? I have a foolproof plan to make it like bucket loads of money.
Well, who made the first two Fantastic Four movies? Who was that? Was that Fox or was that Sony?
Sony.
The first
so
one
they
was
could have
so
done
bad,
it.
people were literally just like,
No, they kind of couldn't. It's a weird legal battle. It's very weird on that.
They had done it
anyway,
at the time. They were doing Tobey Spider-Man and the original Fantastic Four. Sony could have done the crossover since they had the rights to both.
Actually, I wonder because maybe I am wrong about that. Maybe the earlier Fantastic Four was Fox.
That's what I was trying to figure out. And then you had Four Stick, which was just garbage.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a big reason why they didn't bring Tony back. Well, Toby Maguire until the last that one movie.
Yeah.
It's mainly because Sony was the one that owned the rights and Marvel wanted it.
Mm. Yeah, the Garfield movies weren't bad. I'm still more prone to Toby though.
Now, if Marvel wanted to make money,
Like
they
that.
get Sydney Sweeney to play Miss Marvel.
no. Superman.
Miss Marvel wouldn't have done that good either way, I think, no matter who you
No.
cast it.
Miss Marvel,
Miss Marvel has always been just terrible.
the hot blonde chick with the titty window. And her
I get it, but
Power Girl.
That's Power
Yeah,
Girl.
Power Girl.
with
You're talking about
Sydney
Power Girl.
Sweeney.
Yeah,
With
that would.
Sydney Sweeney. That would
That
work.
would be good.
That would work because she's got the build for it. All they
Now-
have to do is give her a bob haircut, dye her hair more blonde, and
Yeah.
she'd be ready to go.
Now, I guess it just depends on what you're good because in one version, Power Girl is a Supergirl clone. In other versions, Power Girl, Supergirl from another dimension that just happened to be thrown into the current DC
Yeah.
universe.
She's got a weird weakness too, to like pure elements or some shit.
I don't know about that.
So
I
like
don't know.
anything that's an alloy or something can't hurt her, but like a pure.
That might be the alternate dimension version of her, but I'm pretty sure in the when she's a clone, she's just weak to kryptonite.
The leather bill on this thing's a little bent from how it
I'll have to look that up now. Probably here. I'll have to look that up now.
Not much.
So Hungar,
Awesome. Yeah.
the green around there, what do you think that stands for?
Money.
Infantry. This
You don't
goes
know
with the
anything
jacket,
about
too.
World War One. I'm more of a World War II German fan. I mean, buff.
Yeah, this is a World War One Prussian infantry officer's hat.
Neat.
And like
I've got
I said,
the jacket
World War
too,
II.
and I've ordered an Iron Cross and a close combat badge to put on it.
To be fair, I thought about like recreating Erwin Rommel's hat, like
I mean-
making a replica of it.
You know, you could make a meme, Hungar, where it's like these people be out here talking about Gucci and shit. I like Hugo Boss. Right? Like,
That is true. I'm waiting for Hugo Boss to make a comeback.
I thought they were still around.
I'm waiting for them to go back to their roots.
I might shave. I look pretty damn good in this hat.
Mm.
I mean, yeah. Hunter's like, I don't know about this.
I don't. It's like just
People
like-
who don't know history are going to look at this and be like, what the is that?
yeah. Like
I love
I know some history. I'm not like that much of a history buff on a lot of things.
I at least knew that it wasn't World War II era German.
This is not a World War II hat.
No.
That's a World War One Prussian hat.
World War One, Prussian specifically, infantryman's hat. And the buttons have the German flag colors during
Yep.
that era. That's what the
It has the Imperial German flag
the
colors.
Imperial German stuff. Yeah. See, like I said, because I'm mostly German.
Yeah, I got some German and Austrian, but I'm also on my dad's side. But then on my mom's side, it's Irish and Middle Eastern.
Wondering what the AI recommended this time. Wolf's friend. The AI hates you, but we're basically just sitting here talking about role-playing games. And I'm showing off my World War One Prussian infantry officer hat.
Oh, we're
World
talking
War
about
One. Remember, in World War One, the Germans weren't the bad guys.
we're talking about like also superheroes.
And talking about superheroes big time. Like, if
Yeah,
I
the
were going to
Germans
use
got
the
screwed
Marvel
up.
role-playing game to make
Uh,
Lobo, how would we make him? Yeah, this is specifically a Prussian hat. So apparently there was a difference between the Prussian one and the other one, and they even had a really fancy one that was like this, but it was white, like it was all white. And I was like, no way, I'm wearing that because I'll get that thing wrecked quick.
Yeah.
But I've got the jackets. I need the pants. I've got the LB and everything. So
So-
I could go to a cosplay thing dressed up as a World War One Prussian officer.
I have a hard time when it comes to a lot of superhero TTRPGs because they're either not detailed enough to where I feel like I can't make the hero I want, or they're too crunchy to the point that it's hard for me to enjoy it. Because I've played and bought a bunch of different superhero ones over the years, and there's a lot of them I like, but it's like yeah, it's good, but it's not what I want.
Let me ask you a question, homie. Did you buy Ascendant by Macros?
I almost did. I was looking at it, and then I started hearing about how detailed it was, and I'm like, nope, I'm out.
Oh my God. I bought that shit and I'm just like, because I buy just about everything Macros makes. I love Macros. But that book is so complicated to make a
How
character,
complicated is
figure
it?
something out, whatever the hell it is you're trying to do. It's just like, nah.
Let's see. I have Advanced Phaser Rip because I was able to buy that. I got there's another one called Sentinel Comics that I ended up buying, and I'm trying to
You're a
think what else I
superhero
have.
guy.
I like superhero games, and it's not that I don't like them. It's just they don't fit what I'm looking for. And then there's another one called I think Prowlers and Paragons. It's basically like a huge D6 pool system that I haven't gotten to just play yet, but I've read through like the document, and it seems almost there. But then I came across one that's like very rules light, and it's made by this YouTuber I follow. It's called Streamline Superheroes, and it's very much like if you could you could fit like the character sheet on like a playing card basically. That's how small the character sheet is.
Heroic.
Have you ever looked at Heroic?
I've heard of it. I have not actually looked at it myself. No.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you go to Bear's channel on
Oh no. Okay,
Discord,
that's what that
you
I
can
do
just
have.
download it. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I mean?
think his beta document. Yeah, I have that. I haven't, but that's just a Phaser Rip clone though.
Yeah, it's face rip clone, but you know, some people like that.
Yeah.
And he runs a heroics game. I think Doc might actually. Doc is in it because he showed me a picture of Doc's character the other day, and he looked badass.
Yeah, some buddies of mine did a like a Silver Age, I think, superhero game using that system.
Yeah, I mean, face rip. Here's the big problem, and it's not a problem. I'm sure Bear doesn't care. I don't like face rip at all.
Mm.
And there was a period when TSR was like, hey, we're going to make everything face rip. So they came out with Zebulon's Guide to the Stars or whatever, which tried to make Star Frontier's face rip. And then they came out with Gamma World 3rd Edition, which was face rip. You know, it was like everything but D&D. They were making face rip. And I was just like, no. I tried with Gamma World because I used to, Hungar can attest, be a huge Gamma World guy. And I was just like, no, I hate the system like a lot, you know. And that pretty much was the end of that. So,
I own the first edition Gamma World book. I ended up buying that.
the first edition is good, and the best is the second edition. And the second and first edition are basically the same game, except the second edition adds a little bit more like what the F is going on over here kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like the second edition, yeah, it just adds a lot more stuff. So it's good. It's good. It's a good thing. And then you, of course, the first thing you got to do. Speak of the devil. The first thing you got to do is you got to buy Weapons of the Ancients or whatever,
Hmm.
and that gives you like shit tons of weaponry and stuff for Gamma World, like assault rifles and shotguns, and like instead of like Black Ray Death Disaster guns, it actually gives you normal shit. Hey Bear, we were talking about superheroes. All American was talking about Face Rip, and I was talking about how TSR kind of made me hate Face Rip. Even though I
Really?
played,
Well, maybe Heroic will make you love it again.
well, I backed it just because you're a bro and a future American.
I am not a future American. I don't know why you guys keep saying it.
Because it's the only way. What else are we going to do to make fun of Canada, really? I mean, you know what Canadian culture is? I'm not American, eh?
Yes,
Weird thing went crazy.
Oh no, Skynet's invaded.
But that is pretty much the Canadian thing. We're not Americans, eh?
Uh,
Like they're literally known. They're literally known around the world for not being Americans.
I stopped caring about what Canada did, like maybe a couple months back. Let everyone else deal with their own problems. So I worry about my own.
Oh,
Well, you should give a flying fuck what Canada does because we provide 90% of your electricity. So you should pay real close attention to what Canada does.
the good news is Alberta told Ontario to get after some shit and signed a deal on their own independently to pump oil into Montana or some shit. So Alberta is getting a little bit squirrely over there. I mean, I'm not saying they'll join America, but they're definitely like, look, we're going to make money. You're not going to stop us.
And they got the bird of beef.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, if these Americans want to pay us a bunch of money for our oil, we're going to sell them some oil. And you guys on the East Coast can shut the hell up about it. And I'm like, I kind of respect that moxie, because
I think I hear you guys. This is amazing.
yeah, but so anyway, like I played a Face Rip Marble game one time, and I had fun. I had fun. It was okay, but I didn't love it. I think it was Gamma World 3rd Edition that actually made me be like, I don't like this.
This is so annoying. Give me a second.
All right, figure it out.
Stream sucks.
It was either Gamma World 3rd Edition or Zebulon's Guide. One of those two just got me where I was like, no, thank you. I don't want this.
The game that I've been playing currently, that's kind of like a little bit of Gamma World and a lot of stuff. It was made by this guy. It's called Barrows and Borderlands. It's a Zero-E Science Fantasy retro clone. And the guy who made it, he's only like 26 years old, and it's like the usual like the 4 booklet kind of deal that he did like with D&D. Now what's funny was I had some people, they actually sent me reprint copies that they made
I'll be back.
like
It's not working.
All right.
you're good. I actually got like in a tub over here the actual like the original Zero-E D&D booklets too, because a couple I know they made a bunch of them for arts and crafts and sent them out to a bunch of people they knew, myself included. But this Barrows and Borderlands game I've been playing has been like super fun for me, and it takes a lot of stuff from like Gamma World 2, with especially with the item identify tables where you got to roll to try to get to identify. He has that set up in the game.
Yeah. I'll probably never play it, but I have recently picked up Ashes Without Number by Kevin Crawford of the famous Stars Without Number, Worlds Without Number, Anuses Without Number, whatever, everything without number.
Yeah,
and it is a post-apocalyptic game. It gives you like 3 different settings to play in. If you want mutants in your game, it gives you a huge chart of like random mutations and shit. It also explains like various zombie apocalypses. One of them has something to do with some kind of fungus from the Amazon spreading to humans and causing them to become fungus-headed zombies.
Yeah.
Of us.
So basically, yeah, Last of Us.
Yeah, a buddy of mine I know, he's currently running a stream game with that system, but it's AI takes over.
That is one of the things that can happen. AI. Another thing is, what are you doing, Hungar? That's so loud.
Seriously, Hungar, what the fuck are you doing? You can reach over and mute him anytime you want there, James, just so you know.
I'm just curious, Hungar. What are you doing, bro?
He's not even listening.
What?
What?
What's that, bro?
I can't hear what he's saying either.
I'm prepping dinner.
Loudly.
So anyway, yeah. So you can play like a zombie apocalypse, and the game gives you like 20 different like scenarios of what kind of zombies. So you can do 28 Days Later, you can do The Last of Us, you can do Walking Dead, whatever.
Left 4 Dead.
One of the ones that's kind of cool is just economic collapse. Something happened, the markets all collapsed, and then services stopped being provided. And the next thing you know, people were running around eating each other, and there you are, Like it had nothing to do with anything horrible. It was just some economic thing, And so anyway, the system though is just straight up BXD&D with the traveler skill system tacked on. So it's pretty cool, It's pretty cool. I might play a game where everything happens.
Yeah.
Like there was an economic collapse, and then the AI did some nuke shit, and then zombies come out of nowhere, and then
Let's
the
play a
zombies were
game.
fighting the other zombies that had the fungus, and then
Let's
mutants started showing. Be like, what?
And then there's a Sharknado too. Let's just add a Sharknado.
Sharknado.
Well, no, but you can add aliens visited, and their starship somehow effed up the physics on the planet. So throw Stalker into that mix too, Roadside Picnic was the book, but like basically shit don't work the way you think it should. So you might be walking across a field and walk through a Stalker anomaly, and when you walk out the other side, you've aged 50 years.
Yeah.
Jesus, that sounds fun.
The really cool thing about because the Barrows of Borderlands game, we have a huge Discord server we're in, but it's a big ongoing thing, and there's actually in the world there's portals to other worlds which technically convert over to other game systems. Like they have one for Hyperborea, another one for Arduin, another one for Tecumel, and then eventually, because I'm trying to get to be a referee when I get on there, I'm going to start doing Warriors of the Red Planet, which is John Carter of Mars. Using it's based all on that book series.
You're right.
And also, that's a very underrated Disney movie too. I watched that a couple days ago with the guys online.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yep, I saw it in the theater. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah,
But
I
then
forgot that it was
again,
2 hours long.
It had a lot of actors in it that I actually really like. Like the guy who played John Carter, I like him. The guy that played the main bad guy, he's like almost always good in everything he's in.
Oh, the one who played like that shapeshifter dude? Is that who you're referring
the
to?
one that played the guy that they gave the weapon to.
Yeah, but the shapeshifter dude is also a recognized actor that's been in several movies too.
That guy's been in a bunch of stuff. But I'm talking about the guy that wanted to marry the princess.
Okay. I'll have to find.
He's been in a ton of stuff, and he's almost always the bad guy. He's typecast as a villain. But yeah, considering how much CGI and green screen and everything, I thought they did an amazing job. The green aliens looked awesome. And I loved the little dog that, was always zipping around getting into shit. You know what I mean? And of course, whoever it was they got to play the Princess of Mars was just smoking hot.
Yep.
Absolute. I mean, now if they'd wanted to do it right, she would have been topless the whole time. Because the Red Martians didn't wear tops.
Yeah, her name's Lynn Collins, the actress.
Yeah. But that's okay though. That's okay. Whatever, I mean, even the beginning is funny when they capture him and they're like, "You're Captain so and so of the whatever Confederate cavalry, blah blah blah," and he like headbutts the guy, tries to run away. They're just constantly trying to catch him to talk to him, and he's like, "Nope." His phone died. Okay, yeah, because if he's in the kitchen, he's got to be on his phone. That's fine because I had you turned way down low because you were making a ton of racket, man. Just like horrible stuff.
Yeah.
But I love you. So anyway, yeah, John Carter Mars. I love that movie. That's a good movie. You know what I watched last night though, after I finally went to bed? Blade 1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. I love when he's in the hospital and the crispy critter vampire bites that chick and the cops run around the corner and shoot him. And he just turns around and looks at him and says, "Are you out of your goddamn minds?" And then he keeps doing what he's doing. I mean, just that little smart ass kind of interaction is great. I'm just like, Wesley Snipes, a brother from Paramore Avenue, Orlando, holding it down.
Huh.
Florida man, I think, yeah. But I think he was adopted and raised by a white family. So
apparently there was another John Carter's of Mars movie that came out in 2009, but it was called Princess of Mars. Completely different studio looks like and all that.
Yeah, it was not made by a good studio, by the way.
Mhm.
That's
I
like
didn't
an
even know.
Asylum movie.
Yep, it's the Asylum. Yeah, I didn't even know this
Yeah.
existed.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Princess
waste my
of Mars
time.
was the name of the first book.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't know whatever the guy who wrote it, I forget if it's Burroughs or whichever one, Orson Welles or whoever. That dude had like 20 different types of Martians, and they're all designated by what color they were. You had like white Martians and green ones and red ones and blue ones. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah, it was Burroughs.
They were like Martians that lived underground and never come up out of the ground. I mean, that shit gets into some wild stuff,
Yeah.
And the fact that the Princess of Mars, John Carter knocks her up, she lays an egg.
Oh, geez. It's actually funny because like several months after that John Carter movie, that was when the Avengers came out that following May.
Yeah.
And so that started off the Avengers, and then, it's like I'm trying to, because I'm trying to think about when exactly. I'm trying to figure out what movie was the highlight of Disney going to shit.
Force
I
Awakens.
don't know. Probably Wonder Woman 84.
That's not Disney.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
Disney owns Marvel though, so I would consider that.
When it comes to superheroes,
How would you consider Wonder Woman Marvel?
Wonder Woman's DC.
Oh,
She's DC.
I should have
Warner
known
Brothers
that.
owns that.
Yeah,
Jesus
she's
Christ,
part of
guys.
the Justice League.
That's my
The old
bad.
Justice League
Shame on
cartoon
me.
is Awesome.
Mhm.
I like the old Justice League cartoon.
You can both hand in your nerd cards anytime you like.
No, I didn't. Did I say it too?
I'm just
No.
fucking with you.
I think because we were so caught up on Disney that made me think of Marvel, which is why my
So, as
If
I
there's
said,
a
Disney went to
superhero nerd
shit
card, I don't own it.
with Force Awakens is when Disney went to shit.
I think it was before that.
No,
Uh,
what year did Endgame come out?
what?
What year did Endgame come out?
I don't know.
I got the
No,
list right now. I'm scrolling
It-
through
it
right
was-
now.
I'm pretty sure it was after Force Awakens.
Well, what year did
I'm not
Moana
talking
come
about that
out?
movie.
Endgame came out in 2019.
And Force
Um,
Awakens was what, 2016?
Because I don't give a
That's-
shit. Moana was good.
Moana was good, yes. Star Wars. Actually, Force Awakens was 2015.
Oh, excuse me.
However, you had Zootopia, which was a good Disney movie.
Which was pretty
Uh,
good if you're a furry.
Captain America: Civil War was kind of eh. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. Finding Dory got a lot of praise. I don't know about
What?
they made a
autistic fucking bear trap have I wandered into? What's going on?
I
Why are
don't
we
know who
discussing
started
movies? I did not start this. Fuck you.
I'm blaming
because
you.
because
was
we were
sitting
talking
here
about
saying
John
shit.
Carter, Disney, and my mind decided to think about that because that came out in 2012. When did Disney start really going to crap? Because I remember like sometime in the mid-late 2010s, so we're still some good movies that were coming
I
out.
need to become more forceful because I tend to just kick back and let this crazy train ride. And maybe I need to step in sometimes and be like, hold on, guys. I don't know what we're talking about here, but we
This
need
is
to
the
chill out.
craziest of the trains.
Craziest of the trains over here.
You know what I think it would actually
You just
be
need to
because
start playing Crazy Train.
even though
Bored. Anyway,
here's what I'm going this is going to be my answer on the
And on the
because-
question no one but you asked. This is your answer to
so
your question.
you were working really hard to answer your own question. Go ahead.
Fuck, dude.
I'm sorry.
Oh, look
Maybe
at
we
this
should get
guy
back
with
to
the
gaming.
Battlestar Galactica shirt on.
I
Yeah,
won't
man,
say
that's
they
what
all
I
just
mean, I
stop
love
while I'm
this.
ahead.
Yeah. The best episode, of course, is when Starbuck is trapped on the planet.
That's not from Galactica 1978. It's from Galactica 1980.
I don't care.
Well,
That's the
It's
best.
called The Return
episode.
of Starbuck.
Yep. When he finds the woman who's pregnant and he makes a Cylon into his friend, and the Cylon sacrifices himself so he can live, and he builds an escape pod and puts the pregnant woman and the woman and the baby in it, and sends them off the planet. And then at the very end, Starbuck's just kind of standing there alone. I like to think that he reprogrammed and fixed and reprogrammed some of those Cylons so they wouldn't be alone.
I just
But-
wish that series got to have a better time than it did.
Well,
I
okay,
liked
so
I
here's
liked
what-
how they did the Cylons. They were like the green aliens, and then eventually, like the Cylons kicked their asses or something. It's like they created the Cylons, but then the Cylons kind of took over.
It's an aliens created the Cylon, like the robots that killed them.
Right.
You guys realize, like, I'm like a fucking expert on this show, right? So I'm sitting here
Well,
listening
are we
to it, I'm like,
wrong?
you're close.
Oh, see,
You're
Look.
close.
I'm an infantryman by nature. I'll take close.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm the filthy millennial here, so I only know about these shows from like interacting with a lot of you guys online and all that.
I
I
actually
only-
watched the old '78 show. I wish I got to see. I wish.
I mean, it got really campy and goofy toward the end with the
So
flying
you know why
motorcycles
that
and shit.
happened, guys? You know why it got campy and goofy? Do you want to know
Uh-uh.
why? So when Glenn Larson first pitched it, they agreed to 3 2-hour telemovies. Saga of a Star World, and then there was 2 others. One was going to be Galactica Mission, the one where it's on fire in space, and War of the Gods. Those were the 3 they agreed to. They saw the first one, flipped out. Universal put it into theaters everywhere but the U.S., so we saw it on the big screen in Canada, and then said, no, ABC wants to do a series, so let's do a series. And they're like, great, but it costs like $1 million an episode in 1978. And they're like, well, we're not giving you $1 million an episode. We'll give you this much. And then they kept cutting the budget as the season went on. So they wound up having to use whatever they could find lying around the Universal lot. That's why you saw those medieval things happening or Western stuff. Because
Right.
it's all they could find that they could use. So they got
Yeah, I
screwed.
remember the
They
set
got
was
fully
up in
screwed.
Apollo or in the Old
It
West.
was sad.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
That's
had like
Red Eye
a gunfight duel with some
Yep.
Cylons.
with a Cylon called Red Eye. Yep. And there's the episode with the unicorns and the castle, and like it's all because ABC fucking got greedy but didn't want to pay for it.
Well, I'm going to say this right away. I like the old Cylon ships and stuff way better than the new ones.
I don't even like the new, like the miniseries was okay. The first episode of the series, 33, where they have to jump every 33 minutes because the Cylons keep finding them every 33 minutes. Amazing. Fucking amazing episode. And the rest of the series was mostly shit.
The only part of the episode I liked was that base where the humans and the Cylons were supposed to meet every whatever, but the Cylons had never appeared.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
Yeah, that was the
Cylons
miniseries.
appear and it's like 7 or whoever.
That was like the very first thing.
The blonde chick in the red dress, and she just comes there and gives the guy a kiss, and then they blow the whole place up.
Yeah, the guy, by the way, is my buddy Ryan.
Well, tell your buddy Ryan he did a great job next time you talk to him.
I will. You ever watch Green Arrow?
Yeah, I did.
He was one of the guys from the island there, the mercenary guys on the island.
Oh yeah,
he
landed on that island and had to learn to survive.
Yeah, he was in Warcraft. He was one of the knights in the Warcraft movie. Guy works all the fucking time.
I liked the Warcraft movie. People ragged it. I liked it. I thought it was okay. It was a high fantasy. I mean, it's Warcraft. What do you want? It's high fantasy bullshit.
I mean, I didn't watch it. I just didn't care for Warcraft. It's like,
So
yeah,
one
but if
movie.
you like D&D, you would probably like the Warcraft movie because at the end of the day, it's castles and
fantasy
flying
stuff, yeah.
mounts and knights and orcs and dragons and all that kind of shit.
Anyway, his name's Ryan Robbins, and he's a Vancouver actor, but he works in everything. Like the guy's in fucking everything.
Well, I mean, got to pay the bills, and like we established yesterday, I mean, it's not easy for a day actor these days, you know. But
he does well for himself, I gotta say, man. Like he keeps showing up and shit, and I'm always like, Jesus, Ryan, are you in fucking everything now?
But
Yes.
guys, if
Why
you
not?
look up like the new Cylon stars or whatever they're called, and compare them to the old
Face
ones,
stars.
the old ones were way cooler.
Yeah,
They
I
were
like
like
the old
this
face stars
kind
better.
of like hourglass looking thing that was kind of spinning, and the old Cylon fighters were the best. They had 3 Cylons inside of them, right? So you had one that was the pilot and like a navigator and like a gunner, and they'd all be in their little, and it looked like a disc type thing. Actually, it kind of reminded me of a mechanical what are they called? The crabs we have here in Florida with the blue blood. Anyway, it don't matter. Horseshoe crabs. I mean, just the old stuff might have been old, cheap, whatever, but it looked way cool.
Actually, to be fair, they did spend a lot on a lot of the sets and stuff on that early on, but they just didn't have anything to make anything new. That's why
Did you just actually us?
It sounded to me like he agreed with you, like after the fact.
But I like the fact that he did the actually first. Did you push your glasses up at the same time? Let you go
No.
actually.
No,
You sure?
I'm sure.
Pretty nerdy fucking moment, buddy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I was just saying
Okay,
a lot of
Andre,
their budget didn't go on to like
apparently
sets.
wants
I think
his
some
Cylons to
stuff
be in
like
a
that.
band full of angels singing Leonard Skinner while he's hammered drunk.
Well, that's nice.
Okay.
Good for him.
Now, the biggest problem with the 70 whatever Cylons were, they had a hard time seeing, so they were always falling all over the damn place.
Yeah.
And they had another problem. They were chrome, so they couldn't dulling spray them for lens flare, and they'd constantly be catching the camera guys or the crew in the reflection on their armor.
Yeah, so it was like, But they were cool, you know. It's like some weird reptilian, whatever alien created them.
So
and then-
the Cylons were a lizardic race who had started a fight, and then they got into they had conquered a race called the Hisaris, and then the humans, the 13 colonies, went to the defense of the Hisaris, which led to them getting into the Thousand Yaran War with the Cylons. At some point during the Thousand Yaran War, really early, the Cylons figured out that the humanoid was the best form for war, so they made the robots as humanoids to go and fight. And then the robots became intelligent and overthrew their reptilian masters and became the Cylons. But they then created the multi-brained Imperious leaders who were identical to the original Cylons. So they started to become as corrupt.
Didn't they
Some
also
stuff.
have a human that was on one of their Cylon battle stars?
Well, Baltar, they had Baltar.
Yeah, it was always talking shit.
Yeah, Baltar was always talking. Exactly.
Yeah. And there were different Cylons too, because some of them would look like they looked different according to their rank or whatever.
Well, there was all the silver ones, and then there were gold Centurions that were like the command Centurions, and then there was the IL series, which is what Lucifer was,
Right.
and those ones would eventually evolve and become Imperious leaders. They'd get their brain put into a new body with more
Right.
brains. Yeah, crazy shit.
Basically,
There's-
we're in agreement though that the old lore and everything about the thing is better than the new shit.
Yes, and they originally were going to have the Cylons be more like Daleks. The bodies were just going to be robot suits they piloted. And ABC was like, you can't kill this many living creatures a week on Sunday night TV. They're like, well, no, but they're robots. Oh, you can kill as many of those as you like then. Okay, you know.
Which is why we went through the phase in America of making zombie movies. Because you can kill all the zombies you want. No one cares.
No.
They don't
Fair.
matter.
Very fair.
And it's also why the bad guy in a lot of movies are Yahtzees, even though you kind of wonder, how did the Yahtzees get in this movie? But it's because we've dehumanized the Yahtzees so much, no one cares if you kill them.
Well, as a buddy of mine once said, he said, if you're stuck for a bad guy in your movie, make him a Yahtzee, because if you treat him badly or make him look bad and then kill him, who's going to complain? Yahtzees? Well, who gives a fuck what they think?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Who's going to complain? What's up, Janet? How you doing? It's
Hey,
like,
Janet.
Hey, Janet.
because the person who complains,
Hey, Janet.
you're going to be side-eyeing that guy. Being like,
Hmm.
wait a minute. Why do you care so much about this? See, I can complain a little bit because I had a relative die in a concentration camp. He fell off of the guard tower. And
That joke is so old, by the way.
Woo!
I'm sorry, I'm so old, Bear.
Yeah, but that joke, that's like a Hungar grade 5 joke.
You know what? A Jewish paramedic I worked with told me that joke.
Oh, no. The best Jewish and Holocaust jokes I ever heard in my life were from my buddy Sam's mom, Jewish, and a professor of Holocaust studies at Concordia University. And she told the best jokes. Like,
Because
The ones I heard.
sometimes you just gotta laugh about shit.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
James.
Yes.
I got good news. If there's a TPK in our game, I get to start off at second level.
That is good news.
So, Bear, what you're saying is that Holocaust jokes are quite the gas.
are you Jewish by any chance?
No, I am not.
Then you don't have you just shut up. That's what you do. You just shut up. That's what you do. Notice I said she told me the best Holocaust jokes I ever heard, but I didn't share any of them because I'm not Jewish. You understand?
Mm.
Well, you should understand because.
I mean, I
James and discussed-
understand, but
By the way, have
comedy
you
is
noticed,
rated
James?
E for everyone gets it.
No, it's not.
Save those
James-
jokes for when you're in the living room playing Sony with your brother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you see, James, by the way, that they're starting up about Israel again on both sides, left and right now? I told you, whenever the extremists of whatever side of the political party get together, where do they meet? Hating Jews. That's where they always meet. It's like
It
their
is
favorite
so
fucking
weird.
thing.
It is so weird. And when Twitch idiots come in and call me you support genocide. I'm like, yeah, I hope the Israelis push the Palestinians right into the fucking ocean. I mean, I'm not Jewish. I am an Orthodox Christian, but you think I'm going to have a lot of sympathy for Muslims? I spent 6 months over there. I spent 4 days killing them. I don't have a lot of sympathy for them fuckers. So, yeah, don't come at me being like, you need to support Palestine, because you're not going to like what I tell you about it. Now, does this mean that I'm a hardcore Zionist like these Baptists are over here that think that Jews are somehow special? No. Actually, my religion teaches they're all going to hell unless they repent. Because we're Orthodox. You got to believe in Jesus or else you're effed, right? But I still prefer my Jewish cousins, because, I mean, I am related to a lot of Jewish people, to these guys that chuck people off of roofs and marry 12-year-olds.
Well, think about this.
How can this even be? You're talking about the university where they're
Okay.
so concerned about consent. If a woman drinks 1 beer, she can't give you consent to have sex. But
Okay.
we support this group over here that's literally forcing 10-year-olds into marriages with 50-year-old men. Make it
So-
make sense, Bear.
Think about this. If you want to become a Christian and you go to the church and you say, I want to become a Christian, what's the answer? Okay.
All right.
You want to become a Muslim, you go to the temple and you say, I want to become a Muslim, and the answer is okay. And most religions are like that. You go to the synagogue and you go to the rabbi and say, I want to become a Jew. What does he say? No, you don't.
Yeah,
And then you have to go back a second time. You go, I want to become a Jew. Yeah, you really don't want to be a
see,
Jew.
you know.
And then you go back the
know.
third time and you say, I want to be a Jew. They say, well, no, but if you want to be a Jew, we'll put you through the process. And then you spend a year having to be more Jewish than any other Jewish person who ever fucking
Well, you got to
lived.
be the super Jew.
You got to be super Jew to become a Jew.
Yeah.
Hence, I have had less conflicts, problems, or bullshit of my religious friends from my Jewish friends because they're not pushing their religion on it.
Bear, I can say as somebody who converted to Judaism when I was very young, it makes my heart smile to hear you talk about the asking 3 times thing. That is a fact. I can back that shit up from real life. They will turn you down because they want to make sure you're serious about it.
Exactly.
You know?
You're just not in it for the discount. See, now that's a good Jewish joke. See? Yeah. That's the one that's probably living in Montreal.
It is true that if you're Jewish and you hang out at the temple with somebody, you know, you're bubbler, you might get a little bit of deal here and there.
Booby.
Yeah,
Come on,
booby. We go to the same synagogue. Come on.
Like my friend Ab used to say all the time, he goes, you know what? Normally it's 40% off, but because you're my friend, 35.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
That scene where what was his name? The Gran Torino took that little Asian kid to the to the barber shop.
Oh, and they're all like, "Hey, how you doing, you Polish prick?"
Yes.
And if you've never seen Gran Torino, it's Clint Eastwood basically being super heroic, but he's a dick the whole time.
Yes.
I know what it's about, and he gets killed
And
at the end.
super racist.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene where some black dudes are hanging out on a corner and they start harassing like this Chinese
Asian
girl.
She's
And
Korean.
Clint Eastwood pulls up and gets out of his truck and he's like, "What are you spooks up to?" And the black dudes are like, "What?" And then he says, "You ever had one of those days when you met somebody that you knew you just shouldn't fuck with?" And they're just like, you know what I mean? And then he pulls a 45 out on them and they're like, "Whoa, dude, we don't want anything." And then he tells the Asian girl, he's like, "Get in the truck." And then the white guy that was the Asian girl's maybe boyfriend, I don't know, which is actually Clint Eastwood's son in real life. He tells that guy, he's like, "You take your fey patty ass on out of here. These black guys don't want to be your friend, and I don't either. And I don't blame them," or some shit.
Yeah, I
So
don't
the
blame
white guy takes off running down the sidewalk, and the Chinese guy, Meng, Hamon gets in the truck.
She's Korean,
He
not
puts
Chinese.
the pistol up, and he gets in the truck, and the one black guy, he's standing there. What do you do? And they're just like, "Have a nice day." And he's pulling off, and he's like, "Oh yeah." And then after he pulls off, the black guy's like, "Why didn't you jump that guy?" And the other guy, "Why didn't you?" Because he's got terminal cancer, and he knows he's going to die like sooner than later, So
Mhm.
he's just like buck wild, He's just out here doing shit, And some people who had fought with us in Vietnam on our side, the Hmong mountain tribes, had moved in next door to where he lived in
Okay.
Detroit. And in the end, he ends up like totally falling in love with them and like freaking like protecting them and like teaching their son how to be a man, and like, because originally he just hated everybody. But those
So, who kills him in the end?
some Hmong gangsters.
Yep.
And he sets it up so that it'll happen, so that the cops will come and arrest them all. So basically, he sacrificed his life for that Hmong girl and boy.
Yeah.
Nice.
And in the end, he leaves his treasured Gran Torino to the Hmong boy.
Okay.
That was like one of the first rated R movies I ever watched. I think the first time I actually saw. Yeah, I think that was the first time I ever saw a Clint Eastwood movie.
Oh, it starts. I mean, part of it is when
Four.
he comes out with his M1 Garand.
Yep.
And as an old man, he tells a bunch of young people to get the fuck off his lawn.
Yeah,
Yep.
And
I
the one
remember
guy's
watching
like, "Shut
it.
up, old man!" And he's aiming that M1 Garand right at his face, and he's like, "We used to stack gooks like you up 5 high and use you for sandbags in Korea. Get the fuck off my lawn!" And the guy's like, "All right." And then, of course, the Hmong, because he had defended them from those gangsters, they just started bringing him food.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently that's their culture. Like, he would walk into his house and there'd just be a bunch of food laying all over the place on his porch. And so it become what it is. It's a heartwarming movie, Bear. It's a heartwarming movie.
Sounds like it.
It is. I mean, he is kind of racist, but not. Well, he's racist against everyone, though. When he tries to get his Hmong friend a job, he calls the guy that owns the construction company freaking Mick Jackoff or some shit like that. They talk shit, and then he's like, "Hey, my buddy over here needs a job. You got anything?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'll hook him up," because everyone liked him, even though he was that guy. They tried to teach him to be manly, and he walks in and he's like, "I had to take my car to the shop to get the transmission work done. Man, they charged me so hard. My ass is sore." And the guys are just like, "What?"
Get it wrong a little bit. No, he was talking about his job.
Yeah, he's like, "Your ass is sore? Well, what? But anyway, yeah, the Hmong people are from Burma. All I know, historical doppelgangers, in the context of this movie, they had fought with our special forces against the VC. So when the war ended, we started, helping them get out of there because they were our buddies. Kind of like the Montagnards, who are ethnically Chinese, but they live in the mountains of Vietnam. And they helped us out too. Like that one base that got besieged forever, Laos something. There was like Special Forces A team, 10 or 11 guys, and then like another 50 Montagnard troops, and they held off like thousands of VC for like weeks and weeks and weeks, until they were relieved. And so, those Montagnards are tough bastards. They lost almost everybody, but they held them off. I mean, there was a point where they were attacking the VC PT-76 amphibious tanks with like 5-gallon jerry cans. that they just shoved rags in. So basically, they're just making giant Molotov cocktails and charging tanks. Like, goddamn. But I mean, you know me, Green Berets are like a special. I mean, they're a type of human being that exists in their own universe. You know what I mean? But that's just how I feel about it. Anyway, yeah, Battlestar Galactica, the old toys and shit were just way cooler. Sorry. Just way cooler. The new stuff,
You go. They go back to
the only thing I liked about the new
All right,
stuff
we're gonna
was
go
when
on a
they
tour.
all-
We're gonna go all through the Vietnam War and Gran Torino, the movie, and talk about the Holocaust. And but speaking of Battlestar Galactica, that was brilliant, dude. That was
The
brilliant.
only thing I liked about the new Battlestar Galactica is when they introduced Scar. I thought that was interesting.
They just what?
Scar.
Scar. It was it was
It
one
was
of
the
the aircraft
Cylon
that,
ship that had kind of developed like cleverness and was sneaky. And they called it Scar because it took a hit. So like one side of the, well, not cockpit, but whatever, had a jagged, hull breach. Because you know how in the new one they said they like put some kind of predator's brain inside of those ships, and they were basically
they're organic machines that
yeah, they were machines with
fly
an organic
themselves.
control system. They didn't have pilots, and Scar had killed a shit ton of human pilots because he was super smart.
He
And he just,
basically
like,
had time to
Ambush the shit out of people.
to actually develop tactics since they didn't have the regeneration anymore, so they had to
Yeah, he
not
learned.
die.
Yeah, he learned, and so yeah, he that was kind of a cool concept,
Yeah,
But
I didn't care for that show.
otherwise, whatever.
It was a dumb show.
So I got my no
Orange Crush?
Skull. Yeah, I got my Orange Crush.
Yeah,
Follow me, don't follow me. Got my spine, I've got my Orange Crush, which is a song about dropping napalm on Vietnamese people. Because apparently napalm, since it's made out of gasoline and citric acid, smells like oranges when it burns. We are agents of the...
that's my fault. I'm the one who made that connection. I apologize.
Well, I like that song. I don't think we use napalm anymore. I didn't see any of it in Iraq.
No, you have white phosphorus now.
Yeah, we dropped some baloney on them, but I didn't see any napalm. We dropped a lot of letters on them. I found some too, and it'd be in English and Arabic. And one side of the panel, because it was like drawn like a comic, would show like a man and his wife and his kid all together smiling in their house. And the other side would just show like a man blown apart laying on the ground and like the wife and the kid crying. And basically what it said was, if you just go home, you'll live. But if you stay out here, we're going to kill you. I mean, that's the basic translation. And we were dumping those letters all over Iraq. It was like, yeah, we'll kill your asses if you stay out here. And it worked, because a lot of times we would encounter like conscript units and they would surrender immediately. That, they were just like, yeah, F this shit. I want to go back to my falafel stand. I ain't got no time for all this, And, for what it's worth, in the end, I ended up liking the Iraqi way more than I did the Saudis.
Yeah, that tends to be a common thing.
Does it?
Yep.
Yeah, we captured them. I talked to them. A lot of them spoke English. They seemed like down-to-earth, whatever people. The Saudis, they were just dicks. They're assholes, man. Plus, they had slaves. Like, I seen them while I was there in King Fahd Military City and stuff. And we all know secretly they kind of hated us. So I was like, that's a weird war, because it's like And Bear, you can tell me. You are from another country, so you're not invested. Were we mercenaries? Because I seem to think we were,
Yes.
except we didn't get paid.
No, but you were mercenaries working for Halliburton, essentially.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I feel like,
Sad to say, right? But that's the thing.
yeah, that's how I kind of felt about when I came home. I mean, I was happy because I got the wreath around my rifle, which is, respect, but never felt like. I think my problem with that war is I never understood what we gained.
Yeah, you
It
didn't
was
gain
like
anything.
we
That's
went
the
over there and
problem.
did a lot of shit, but we didn't get any oil, and none of us were allowed to bring any weapons home. We weren't even allowed to bring home Arabic wives. It's like, what's the point of this shit? If you're going to raid a country, raid a country. Take all their shit and women. But they didn't let us do any of that. Just not fair, really. And I stand by
Well,
that. If you go to war with somebody, you should be able to take all their hot women as war prizes.
there's a whole lot of Americans from that period of time that I have a real problem with, and the reason I have a real problem with is this: what happened on 9/11?
Some
What was-
Saudi
what was-
Arabians flew a plane.
No, but
into
what was the knock-on effect? Every airplane in North American airspace, if not almost global airspace, was grounded, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And air traffic was suspended for how many days?
I don't
I
remember.
remember.
4 days, right? Well, a shit ton of American planes full of Americans were sitting on Canadian tarmacs that entire time. And our people, started going from their homes with food to bring to the planes to feed people, things like that, bringing bottles, because the airlines weren't doing shit for them, really, at the end of the day. And the Canadian people just made this massive outpouring. There's a real good documentary about it. And then because we refused to fucking go to Iraq, Bush had the tits to stand up in front of the world and thank England for being their closest ally and friend in this time of crisis. Like, go fuck yourself, you piece of shit.
You know what, though?
Hang on. I'm not done. And then there was a shit ton of right-wing Americans who were suddenly talking nonstop shit about Canada.
I'm sure every one of those people on those airplanes loves and respects you.
Yeah. Listen, there's, like I said, there's been documentaries made about it. It's this amazing thing that happened. And as
Plus, you're
Canadians,
telling
it
me
was just,
something I never heard of.
that's the problem, because your media never talked about it. Because the message that was being sent was Canada's not fighting in Iraq, therefore Canada not a good friend.
It's like I was in frickin' God, what was I, 3rd, 4th grade when that happened or something?
Yeah, I was 18. I think I turned 19 over there.
I think I was in elementary school while that was happening.
I'm not even going to tell you how old I was.
You know what, though? I didn't give a shit about. It never occurred to me that Canada was there or not.
We were in
I wouldn't have
Afghanistan. We went to Afghanistan, but we didn't go to Iraq. And the reason we didn't go to Iraq is because our prime minister asked for proof of the weapons of mass destruction, and they couldn't deliver proof. So he went, well, no proof, we're not going.
Yeah, that's what our president should have done.
Your president was being run by the head of Halliburton, Dick Cheney.
I know.
Robo Cheney wants desert war. Robo Cheney get war,
And that goofball who was running England that supposedly swore up and down that there were weapons of like nukes and shit, and we had to do something immediately or else.
Oh, yeah. The fact that all these cocksuckers never got taken to court or arrested for lying and getting people killed is amazing.
Same as it ever was, dude. Do you think the 51 people that swore up and down the Hunter Biden computer was Russian misinformation? Do you think any of them are getting anything?
Nope.
And they are all supposed to be the people you can trust because they were all like intelligence operatives.
Yep. That's okay. It looks like England's on the verge of a civil war.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens when you freaking import more people of a different culture than your own culture.
Well, it's
And-
not just that. It's when you gaslight people for 10, 15 years telling them replacement theory is not a real thing and that they're racist for thinking it.
Oh,
And
and,
then
by the
do
way,
You
You know
know?
And
what?
then
It's
they
a good
realize
thing
you
that's
were
happening.
actually doing the thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
So is that left?
and also censoring of
and
their
then
free
it's like,
speech
oh,
right too.
and if it is happening, it's a good thing that's happening.
Well, here's the thing. I feel bad if it does happen for the amount of people who are going to lose their lives. That I do feel horrible for. But on the other hand, it might be a fucking wake-up call to Australia, Canada, even your country, to go, maybe we should dial back this globalist World Economic Forum bullshit we've been shoving down everybody's throat, because they're going to start cutting our fucking heads off.
well, you know what kind of pisses me off about it in America is they've made it a race thing.
They've done that everywhere. They've done it everywhere in the world. It's a race everywhere. Everywhere.
So it's like, it's not that we're deporting people who are in the country illegally. It's we're deporting Latinos, and therefore other Latinos are mad at us.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you don't know that guy, and he's in the country illegally, and you've been a citizen in this country for 5 generations.
Yeah.
What are you pissed off about? And then you got people being like, why aren't you raiding French bread stands and deporting French people? Well, because the French didn't sneak across the damn border. I mean, I'm sorry. They deported a whole group of Russians from America, from Florida. I mean, but one of them was on the Interpol list and shit like that. So
I mean,
Yeah.
we've discovered freaking Chinese operatives running cartel rings on our own land and even on the Mexican border.
right. So it's like, and I'm like, it's not a race thing, guys. It's a you're here illegally. Go home.
Just because one person does it more than the other doesn't make much of a difference.
Well, I mean, the people who can do it the easiest are the ones that are going to do it.
Also true.
I mean, if you live in the Congo, it's probably going to take a little work to get to the U.S. border. But if you live in Saltillo, Mexico, guess what? You can see the U.S. border.
There's
Yeah.
already been like several documentaries people have made where it talks about how people like from South America paying like thousands of like dollars or pesos or whatever to get all the way up to be snuck into the U.S.
The whole thing is a shame because it's like so many young women have been abused, and a lot of people have been like taken advantage of. Like they paid the money, but then they died in the back of a tractor trailer because it was 900 degrees, or you know what I'm saying. I'm over exaggerating. I mean, the whole everything about it is bad.
Yeah, and like the
Everything
Mexican
about it is bad.
Mexican government can't do anything, or else they all lose their heads because of the cartels. So the Mexican government has to play ball with the cartels.
I was talking to my wife, and I was like, "Do you know during the last Mexican presidential run, like 5
40
of the
politicians.
got killed?
I've actually
And
saw
now
it.
we've got this one in charge." And I'm like, "If you think this chick ain't owned by the cartels, you are insane. That's the only reason she's alive."
Fair.
You know what I mean? Because pretty much
Very fair.
every candidate that said they didn't like the cartels got whacked.
Hmm.
Which it looks like we may invade Mexico for, I think, the 3rd or 4th
Yeah.
time.
Like one of my favorite shows I used to watch back when I think it was on either the Discovery Channel or the History Channel. It went for like 7 or so seasons. It was called Gangland, and they highlighted like all the various like high priority like gangs in the States, and they also did
Yeah.
the cartels in Canada too. So
Mhm.
just watching that crap about all like I think they did like 5 different episodes I think overall about several different cartel organizations in Mexico alone. And yeah,
Well-
it got dark really quick.
Gentlemen, I must take my leave of you. I have to go make my supper.
Okay.
Yeah, I
All
think
right,
it's
have a
about
good day,
time for
Bear.
me to
Good seeing you
go, too.
again.
Bye,
Yeah,
guys. Be
I
well.
heard from somebody that the Canadians are having problems with, like Indian people who come to Canada to make money to send back to India because there's a revolution basically in India. Like
Yeah, I've been hearing a little stuff here and there about
Punjabi
India.
province wants to be independent.
Mm.
So they're funneling money, and how they're making the money is like criminal ways, like prostitution and this sort of stuff. So they have like a whole thing going on, and like that we never hear about because whatever. But Nerdy Ogre, howdy, homie.
But I was going back to the kind of the movie discussion. I was going to brought up I watched Kroll several weeks ago.
Oh, the one from the 80s?
Yeah, the one where he's got like the Starglaive thing.
That thing is awesome.
I mean, it's not
Glaive,
the
obviously.
best movie for its time, but it still was a good movie. I thoroughly still enjoyed it.
That is the thing. Right there, that's the thing.
Yeah,
Did you enjoy it?
I
Yes.
did. I
Very
loved,
good.
especially. I think my favorite scene overall was when they're riding the fire mares to get to the castle. Just seeing like because you get like how they the fire mares are running, then you get the fire trail right behind them. I
Well,
thought that
how
was
about
really
the old
cool.
lady at the center of the giant spider's web, and
That was kind of interesting.
how the old guy had to die basically so that
Yeah.
they could get away.
I feel really bad that the Cyclops ended up basically having to die to be able to get all his pals inside.
Making money that isn't taxed and sending it back. So Nerdy Ogre's answering what
About
we
the
were talking
India?
about. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's some wild shit going on there, but
a movie.
yeah, Kroll is, and you know what's crazy too is the enemy, whatever they were, with their like
The weird
power
like
armor
Dark
and
Master or whatever he was. Yeah,
and it shot like a bark. The
Yeah.
tip of it would get you. I mean, it's pretty badass.
it was
And
good.
the guy
Yeah,
lived in a castle that like skipped every morning or some shit. And he was some kind of giant alien.
that's the only Kroll there was. I think was it
Yeah,
80s.
Kroll was, yeah, definitely, I think 80s. I don't know that they made a new one. So if you're thinking something else, you might be mistaken.
Yeah, one movie
There
I tried to
was,
watch.
like, a later movie about King Cole.
Huh?
With Sorbo in it. You know the other R.E. Howard guy besides Conan and Solomon Kane? There was Cole.
No, those I have not seen either of those
Comic book?
either. Those are on my list of movies I need to watch. Is Conan and Solomon Kane. And Tubi has a
Solomon
bunch
Kane
of them,
was
so I got them all
actually really
saved.
good. Solomon Kane was good.
Mhm.
A lot of
no-
people tell you it wasn't great, but I thought it was okay.
One movie I
Um,
tried to watch because it was free on YouTube, but I ended up like after 30 minutes I couldn't watch because it was so bad. I tried to
Which
watch
movie-
Tom
which
Hanks'
movie?
Mazes and Monsters.
Oh, Tom Hanks.
But that movie was just so bad.
It's kind of cool though how at the beginning when they make their characters, they like draw the characters out and paint or use markers to make their little standees that are going to be their miniatures and stuff. I was like, damn, that's kind of cool. Save a lot of money on miniatures if people do that.
I stopped after like 30 minutes.
That's Sorbo. Yeah, that's a whole different, and it's Cole. And he was R.E. Howard's first character, but for some reason, I mean, R.E. Howard, I think, even said what it was. He ended up kind of dropping Cole and King Cole the Conqueror, whatever, and going with Conan. And he said, and I don't know if it's true or not, because he wrote all of the Conan books in like the course of 3 or 4 months, that it felt like to him that Conan was standing behind him, telling him of the tells. And he was just writing it down, what Conan said. So, okay, was he schizophrenic? Possibly. Did he have an imaginary friend that like splitting people's heads in with an axe? Maybe. But he did write a lot of stories. And
Yeah.
he said that, he said what he said. I mean, did he take himself off the census after his mother passed? Yes. Because I guess he just didn't imagine a world in which he could be alive, but his mother not. And, while I would never do it, I understand it. Oh, man. See, Solomon Kane was kind of cool. I kind of liked it. You know, it was kind of dark. But for a better version of Solomon Kane, I would say the Nicolas Cage movie where they got to transport the witch to the monastery.
Mm.
And the one guy that looks like a Neanderthal's in it too, Ron Perlman. That I think was a better movie overall. That was a good movie.
What movie is that you're talking about that had Nicolas Cage?
I think it's called Season of the Witch.
That is not one I've seen.
Him and Ron Perlman play basically really disgruntled crusaders who get forced into transporting a witch to a monastery where there's a sacred book that they can finally use to like do an exorcism. But then I'm not going to tell you, there's a plot twist, all kinds of weird shit happens, you know, evil and magic and whatever. And yeah, it's good.
So
Yeah, it was a solid fantasy flick. And that's what I'm talking about. You see, Manowar, you get me. It's like when Shadow and Son is all like, Conan the Barbarian sucked. It's like, no, it didn't. It was awesome. Was it the book? No. But if you take it as an individual work, it was good. Well,
yeah.
you know,
I mean,
Arnold
like-
Schwarzenegger sucked as Conan. Well, you know what? Everyone sucks as Conan. But he did a pretty good job. You know, these people are, it's like, if you leave it up to some of these people, we would never have any movies.
Yeah, it's funny we bring up Arnold because what the thing that started that got me started to look at a lot of these 80s movies now is because I was on Saturday stream with a buddy of mine and there was a whole panel and I forgot what brought it up. I ended up just admitting I had never seen any of the Predator movies at all. Haven't seen a single one of them. I grew up a millennial kid in a very strong conservative Christian household. So there was a lot of stuff I couldn't like play video games and movies I couldn't play, watch or do. So I was basically it was like if it wasn't it was almost like if it wasn't Disney we couldn't see it for the most part almost until we were like got into our teen years.
So
And so I had never-
are the reason people like me make fun of Protestants. Because we Orthodox never do that stupid shit.
Yeah.
It's always freaking
But you want to know something funny though?
Freaking Southern Baptist convocation guys. They're like, oh, you can't read Harry Potter. It's like
My
come
church I grew up in tried to do that to me, but my parents they were all fine with us reading Harry Potter and stuff.
Well,
we-
okay,
they-
at least you had that going for you.
Yeah, but like I remember when I finally wanted to purchase like because I had the original Xbox, so I wanted to get Halo 2. So I showed my dad Halo 2 because they even though I was old enough to have rated M games, they still wanted to make sure it wasn't like sexually explicit or anything like that. So I showed it to my dad. It's like, oh, it's like Star Wars. I could have just showed you this the entire time. I could have been playing it when I was younger than 17.
Whereas when I was in the 3rd grade, my mother insisted I read Lord of the Rings.
I read Lord of the Rings. I read all 3 of them, I think, when I was in middle school, I think.
But yeah, and I'm sorry if anybody got offended out there because they're Baptists or whatever, but Protestants, you guys are weird, man. Calm
Yeah,
down.
I technically, even though I attended non-denominational church, I guess I would technically be considered a filthy Protestant.
Yeah. Yeah, of course you would. Like if you're a member of like the non-denominational Church of Christ, guess what? You're a Protestant.
Yeah, well, it's not non-denominational Church of Christ. It's just a church that has no denomination attached to it.
Yeah,
It's
guess
not
what?
part of
That's
any
right.
group or anything.
Yeah, Protestant.
Yeah,
And the problem with being a Protestant is one, your priests have exactly 0 power over demonic entities because you are not part of the apostolic line. Therefore, when Jesus gave the apostles power over demons, the Protestants don't get that. They separated themselves. And 2, a lot of the shit you guys do is just weird. It's just not in the Bible.
now I will
Dancing
be.
around kissing snakes and shit like that. That is
No, that is not Protestant. That is
That's
it's a
Protestant.
freaking different name for it. No, there's another church that's a different denomination that does the snake thing, and I
Dude.
can't remember the name for it at the top of my head. But it is not Protestant because I grew up because the big church I grew up
Here's
in
what
is
you
also
have to tell you that with a full heart.
Yeah.
Christian, you are a Protestant.
I'm saying that even
It
then it
does not
goes
matter
yeah.
of Christianity. Others.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
But I know there's like
like,
there's
I
other
grew up
weird like
in an area where there was tent revivals and charismatic, you know, preachers. So believe me, I know about Pentecostals and Seventh.
Pentecostal. That's what I'm thinking about. They're the ones that do the snakes.
Some of them, see, they can't all agree that doing the snake thing is the correct thing to do.
I just think that's absolutely stupid.
Now, think about it from my point of view, where everyone in our church absolutely agrees with everything that we do. And then we look at the Protestants, and you guys are just running buck wild in the street, you know, and we're just all like, okay, be your best you, man. No, hate in my
That's
band.
not really a good defense because the Catholic Church doesn't really have a good track record. And
Yes. However, here's the thing. That argument is called the argument of comparative filth. And
I mean, I'm not going to
it's
sit here and say
not
like
good
I'm perfect and all that. I'm not going that route at all. I'm just saying if we're going
I
to,
didn't say you were.
I'm just going to say if we're going to try to say one over the other, it's like throwing stones at glass houses at this point.
Oh, yeah, but you have to remember when you say the Catholics don't have a good track record, I'm not Catholic. Well, I am technically.
Well, you brought up the Catholic Church, which is why I mentioned that because
I mean,
you did brought it
technically
up.
I am, but I kind of ain't. But I'm a member of the Holy Apostolic Catholic Orthodox Church. Then you have the Roman Catholic Church, which broke away from us in 1158. And they were such dickheads, I will admit, that it caused a Protestant revolution, right? But the problem was the first Protestant was Luther. So he created Lutheranism, right? But it didn't stop with Luther. And now there's like 1,000 freaking denominations, and it's nuts, right? But where I am in the original church, when we look at that stuff, we're just like, wow, that's some wild shit.
Yeah,
You know?
there are a lot of churches out there that would that because again, like there are like you say Protestant, and then there's like a whole umbrella thing underneath, and like there's a whole like church that are like way too much out there. Like I remember I walked into a Lutheran church that was holding a game day thing one time, and there was pride flags all over the place inside this Lutheran church I walked into.
Well,
And
that's the problem, because they have separated themselves from the true church. They don't have the doctrines and the priests and bishops to run up and be like, no, we're not doing this shit.
yeah, my church actually has, even though we're not that much older, is a hierarchy in kind of in the leadership where you have like the head pastor, and then you have like the kind of like the second commands, and then you have like some of the other leaders that are there. But we are a full-on Bible believing church, and I have been attending that for several years. There's been no sorts of craziness
Well, I'm not
like
trying
that,
to convert
thankfully.
you. I'm not
So
trying to convert you.
I understand. I'm just
If you're
explaining,
gonna
like,
convert, you'll do it on your own, and it won't have anything to do with me.
Yeah. I think,
But
yeah,
I
because
am
one,
saying that these Protestant churches, they do some weird ass shit, in my opinion. Some of them.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I can't say you're wrong there. There are a few churches out there that have done some
again,
crazy shit.
We don't love everything the Roman Catholics do either. We think a lot of the shit they do is just like blatantly really wrong. I was really surprised when the new American Pope got rid of papal infallibility, because that has been a huge sticking point between the East and the West forever. Because Orthodox people, we don't have a pope, and we don't believe any man is infallible except for the big guy, right?
Yep.
So the fact that some Roman Pope 1,000 years ago decided he was infallible, we're like, no.
Yeah.
But now the new Pope's like, that shit's gone. So hopefully it gets straightened out, man.
He's kind of been a little, from what I've heard, like it's been a while since I caught up with anything. He was kind of like flip flopping back and forth with some stuff. I was really hoping like he's from Chicago, I think I heard, so it's be like, so it's like a Pope with gun or something like that kind of deal.
I am pretty sure with him as Pope, you're not going to see too many LGBT flags in the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw someone post about how they were surprised that they saw in a Union. Yeah, no, yeah, because it was posted from England. So there was a Union Jack flag actually hung up outside a government building because they were like taking those down left and right for like a few years.
Yeah, the British, for some reason, are very ashamed of their own flag.
Mm.
Like, it's really weird. It's like they don't like the Union Jack, and they especially hate the flag of St. George, which is the red one.
Yeah, who knows?
I know because they've been trained in school to believe that they're evil white colonists, and they're only capable of doing evil things. And all the brown people in the world, we owe them because the only reason they suck is because we made them suck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Britain tries to do it.
Tell me that when I said, explain to me why Africa is a shithole. And my ancestors were building marble buildings before Christ was born. They're like, well, the reason is they actually were much more whatever, Wakanda forever. But then white people showed up and effed everything up. And I'm like,
X'd it out.
Yeah, I'm like, no, that didn't happen. No Greek showed up and like made Africa just suck. I mean, that didn't happen. But that's getting into other stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to paint.
Yeah, I'm probably going to hop off and probably start making my own dinner too, because I'm going to try to. I got this Mafia game that a buddy made that uses a D10 system that I'm going to start doing like some solo stuff with.
You see that guy?
Oh, he's kind of cool looking.
I got to paint a shoulder pad red, white, and blue. And then on this side, I've got to paint it blue and put a star on it. If I'm really whatever, I'll break out my little brush and I'll paint the smiley face spin on him yellow.
Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't been able to join as often as I used to, because now it's like I'm at work and then I see you always go live like in the middle of my day. So
my sleep schedule's crazy. Most days I am in bed asleep by 8:30.
I should be going to bed about that time because I get up at like 3:30 to be at work by 5. But that never happens half the time.
You're young and you probably didn't recognize this guy, but it's the comedian.
Why does that sound familiar? Oh, Watchmen. I have that movie.
The comedian.
Yeah, I have that movie, and I also
tier character in the Marvel game if you made it.
Yeah, they also DC Heroes did Watchmen supplement books too.
Yeah, because other than being a really good fighter and being like strong as hell and tough, he has no superhero powers.
Yeah, I actually would like to do, if I was to do like a superhero game, because the idea is, what I would love to do is I would love to like do like the Crisis on Infinite Earths, or like the Crisis on 2 Earths, where like the evil superheroes like take over, they control everything, but set that in like a Watchmen-esque setting, so it's like all dark and gritty, and then you're just playing as like the underdog heroes trying to fight back.
Right. And yes, BRC, I know, but the flag you're describing is called the St. George flag.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and hop off, James, but it was good seeing and chatting with you again.
Salute to you, sir.
You have a good day.
I will do so. Yeah, a lot of old European countries are really like huge into St. George. Like Russia, the seal, if you look at the actual Russian flag where it's got the Russian seal, in the middle of the eagle is a picture of St. George on his horse slaying a dragon. So the Russians themselves, a lot of times, will use a St. George flag. And then another thing they do a lot of times is they fly what's called a St. Andrew's flag. And that's the Scottish flag, basically. Except the Scottish flag is blue with a white cross. That is the cross of St. Andrew. And the Russians, a lot of times, they do red with a white cross, which had a bunch of idiots in America who first seen Russian soldiers with that flag on them, thinking, are they wearing Confederate flags? Like, idiots. I don't see a single star in there. If there's no star, it's not ours. And it's just, they're big fans of St. Andrew, who is supposedly the apostle that carried Christianity to the Slavs. So, they're big fans of it. And it supposedly happened in what we call Crimea today. Even though back then that peninsula was part of the Eastern Roman Empire. So, Byzantium. So there's his red, white, and blue striped shoulder pad. And then on this side, I've painted it blue, and there's an actual star there, which is awesome because it'll make it really easy for me to pick out that star in white. Yeah, the St. Andrew's cross is also used a lot by the Russian Navy on their guidons and stuff. When they, how Navy ships will have like all those flags. St. Andrew's is one of them. The Welsh flag is awesome. It does have a dragon. And you kind of got to love that. But the Russian flag has a dragon too. It just has a dude on horseback with a lance getting ready to kill it. Like, if I could find my Ushanka around here, I would show you the St. George thing. St. George is big in Russia. Yep. St. George is a big one. St. Andrew too. The flag for the Kingdom of Wessex is a white dragon. I wonder if that has something to do with Merlin, who supposedly two dragons fought and like some stuff happened that I don't know because I'm not British and I didn't read it. But, the dragons, I guess, went to sleep or something. And so I've just shown you all. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to anything having to do with Merlin and all that shit. While I did absolutely love the movie Excalibur, that's about as deep as my knowledge goes as far as King Arthur. That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. But, well, Kentucky's blue and got two guys shaking hands. And it says, together we stand, divided we fall. And I think one of the guys is Daniel Boone, but I'm not sure. I never looked it up. I just assumed. And then Maryland, they got a crazy flag. It's like yellow and striped and freaking, yeah. When America, they got mad at Maryland because it was named after Mary, the Mother of Christ. And that aggravated a lot of the Protestant Americans because, there's a Russian state. There's a Russian state in Siberia that's got a Star David on it because, like, everyone who lives there is Jewish. There's, they don't call them states, they call them oblasts. But there's an entire Jewish oblast in Siberia. And the thing with those Siberian oblasts is they're allowed to, while they are supposed to learn Russian, they're allowed to learn and keep speaking their native tongue. So I don't know. I wonder if the Jewish people in that oblast in Siberia, if they speak Hebrew or if they just speak Russian, maybe Yiddish, whatever, But that's a new thing since the Soviet Union fell, because under Stalin and the other Soviets, you had to learn Russian or else. Now, since you already lived in Siberia, I'm not sure what the punishment could have possibly been for not doing it. I mean, are they going to send you? I don't know. I mean, if you're already in Siberia, where in the hell are they going to send you as punishment, right? But their whole deal was you had to learn Russian. You weren't supposed to speak your native language. But under the Federation of Russia, so modern day Russia, they changed those rules and people can speak their native language, but they still get taught Russian in school. And that makes sense, because if you ever leave Siberia to go to the West and you want a job, the fact that you speak Kimchuk or some shit like that, you know, some Inuit language, is not going to help you. It's not going to be a good thing, right? You're going to need to communicate in Russian. But yeah. So you have people that basically speak like Mongolian living in the Altai Mountains in Russia. And they do the throat singing and the whole 9 yards, you know? And their religion is animism. And because I watched a documentary on these people, apparently they believe that everything has a spirit. It's called animism. Well, thank you for the information, Historical Doppelganger. I mean, I knew about the dragons and stuff. I just, you know, I didn't know. I'll be honest. I mean, when it comes to history, ask me about Rome, ask me about Scipio Africanus and shit like that. And I'll start giving you stats and figures and telling you all about the reign of Justinian and how Flavius Belisarius got screwed over. But anything past like that age, I'm kind of like, yeah, you know. Like, I know way too much about World War II, in my opinion, because I've played Bold Action. So, of course, you read stuff. It don't interest me. That's why I stopped playing Bold Action. Don't interest me. I don't care. Now, Dune interests me. However, my wife is sick and tired of hearing me talk about it. So, you know, I can only talk about Dune when I'm doing my live streams. Because she's like, hey, I'll play the game. I'll be cool and shit. But we can't just be talking about Dune 24/7 around here. You know what I mean? And she's right, because I do have a tendency to get obsessive about things. Especially if I like it, I will get totally like, I'll go 100% all in, balls to the wall. And a lot of the people I game with, they're just not that hardcore, you know? They just want to show up and like game and, you know, eat chips or whatever the hell we're doing. And or my wife made delicious meatloaf last night. Oh my God, so good. But yeah, whereas me, I get into it. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm reading like all the lore I can, and for some reason buying. Well, actually, I didn't buy. I made this, making myself Chris knives. You know, because you know, never know when you're going to need a 3D printed Chris knife, right? I mean, I don't think that thing could harm anything, but still, I can always, like, you know, be all like, may your blade chip and shatter. Which is cool, right? I can be like, may your blade chip and shatter. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, my wife's character has been invited to another Harkonnen event, this time the celebration of Feyd-Rautha's birthday. And in the alternate universe, they're holding it in Harko Village, which is where Carthag used to be, kind of. So her and the other noble of her family, who is a cousin, are going, but you know, they're not bringing servants or anything, really. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes, right? I should do like a Dune poll. Should the Bene Gesserit Mother Superior, currently in Arakeen, give Elizabeth Becca of the House Becca from Serpentis 7 the orders to conceive a child with Feyd-Rautha? What do you guys think? Should that happen? I mean, obviously, it's not going to be Glasso the Beast Raban, because nobody wants his damn genes. That guy's crazy. But I mean, Feyd is currently engaged to Aristide Atreides, the daughter of Duke Leto Atreides. Even though the Duke and his men are not super happy about it, but the Emperor has said Aristide will marry Feyd, and in that way they can finally put an end to the vendetta, right? And maybe even the War of Assassins currently going on Arrakis. But do the Bene Gesserit want another heir, just in case? Like I said, there's a few of you here. Chirp out. Let me know. I haven't really made my mind up yet. Of course, the player will have the option to say, no, I ain't doing that shit. She can do that.
Is Feyd going to make a pass at me again?
I am asking the people in chat if they think the Mother Superior should ask you to get pregnant by Feyd.
Oh.
And should it be a boy or a girl?
Oh, God, that could complicate everything.
Well, you being a Bene Gesserit sister, you get to determine whether you get pregnant and whether it's a boy or a girl. So, yeah, there is that. That could be a thing. So you guys are being really quiet about it. I hope it's just because you're thinking about it really hard. And I'm not just shouting into the void. Because, you know, that would suck. And the perfect time for her to conceive a child with Feyd would be at his birthday party. Of course, what would her father think, the head of her house? What's he going to think about this? You know what I mean? Like his third daughter getting pregnant by Harkonnen, who they're not enemies of, but also not friends of. They're kind of neutral in the whole Harkonnen Atreides thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you, Man War, for answering. I love that when people answer on streams, because then I know I'm not just sitting here. Anyway, I could talk to myself, but okay. The second part of this question, it's a two-part question. Should Mother Superior tell her, the Bene Gesserit Mother Superior in Arakeen, tell her to do the thing? And are we looking for a boy or a girl? So it's a two-part question, guys. And if House Atreides finds out that she is carrying the bastard child of Fade, how mad are they going to be? See, you guys can be part of my Dune game if you want to. You can chirp up and tell me all kinds of shit, and I will tell you next Monday how it went down, you know? And I am nothing if not an egalitarian. And by that, I mean, when I ask you what your opinion is, I will honor your opinion. It doesn't mean, though, that I will follow it necessarily. Because I lied when I said I was an egalitarian. I am absolutely 100% authoritarian with totalitarian traits, I would say, in my own life. Yeah, I'm definitely authoritarian. You know, but I blame being in the military, you know, and the whole when I say some shit, I expect it to get done. Hey, you know what? That's knowledge enough, brother. That is knowledge enough. You are still more than welcome. What we're talking about is basically, you know, the secret organization, the Bene Gesserit, who've done nothing but eugenics programs for 10,000 years plus. Do they want a bastard child of Fade Rotha, who is, believe it or not, you know, as they would say, good genetic stock. Now, they've already got a daughter of Fade by the wife of Count Finring. But they may need more than one because, you know, the whole thing with the Bene Gesserit is they're plotting who marries who so that they can get the right genetics together to eventually create Sydney Sweeney. That was kind of a joke, but, you know, she has good genes, get it? So it took an organization of witches 10,000 years to create her. See? Yeah, Hungar nailed it earlier, by the way, when we were talking about, you know, movies and whatever. Like, if Disney wanted to make a new Spider-Man, all they have to do to make money is have Sydney Sweeney dye her hair red and be Mary Jane. And pretty much, no matter what else you do, you're going to make money. Because nerds are going to go to the theater to look at Mary Jane being played by Sydney Sweeney, especially if you lean into Mary Jane, how she was always wearing, like, you know, the low cut whatevers so that you could see her boobas and shit like that. Yeah, you'll get. Now, ugly women will bitch and complain about the male gaze, but I mean, who cares what they think? It's not like they're spending money to watch Spider-Man anyway. So, you know, that's a big problem with the companies is they try to F over their actual customers that would spend money on their products because they're trying to appease people who are definitely never going to spend money on your product. So, you know, yeah. It doesn't have to be Sydney Sweeney necessarily. Just grab any random woman that's hot and has a really big chest area and dye her hair red and throw her ass in there. She don't even got to talk. And automatically you're going to make money just from that. Just from that. Like that jeans company was literally going bankrupt. They made those Sydney Sweeney commercials. Their stock went like... You know, and you got a bunch of unattractive people bitching about it. And look, here's the deal. I'm not attractive. I'm reasonably, probably not even middling, but that's just the way life is. And, you just deal with it. You don't hate on like I'm not going to hate on freaking, who is it that's kind of my man crush? He played the Nexus 9 in Blade Runner, Ryan Gosling. I'm not going to hate on Ryan Gosling because he's like a 10 and I'm like a 3. That's stupid. And that's the problem with the people bitching about Sydney Sweeney. They're 3s. She's a 10. They're mad. And it's like, well, I don't know. Go get a cool job. See, I become a firefighter. When you become a firefighter, you get +5 to attractiveness as soon as you put the uniform on. So I went from a 3 to an 8 right off the bat, right? And you don't even want to know what the bonus is if you're just wearing your turnout pants with your red suspenders and your shirt underneath it and your helmet, and you're just kind of standing around. Dude, 10 out of 10. Women literally will walk up to you and hand you papers with their phone numbers on it. I threw away so many of those when I was in, because I'm a faithful husband. I'm not going to cheat on my wife. But I threw away a lot of phone numbers from freaking DTF 19, 20-year-old chicks. And I'm 30 something at the time. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so the point of that is, if you got dealt maybe not the greatest of hands, there's things you can do. There's things you can do, to get around it. I never suffered for my appearance because I went right out of high school into the Army, chicks dig infantryman. And then after getting out of the Army and being a jerk for a while, I eventually become a firefighter. So I kind of took advantage by getting, I'm not smart enough, but cooler job would have been like fighter pilot. Yeah. I think if a firefighter and a fighter pilot were sitting in a bar and a chick was there and like a hottie, and they were both wanting to hit on her, I'm pretty sure the fighter pilot's definitely going to get her. Especially if he's wearing that navy white officer uniform. Yeah, for sure he's getting her, and some people might be like, I can't believe you're saying this stuff. Like women are so shallow. They are. Until they get a little older. But when they're young, yeah, they're looking at that shit. Don't let one of them tell you they're not. They all want to be with a hero. Now my wife, she loves me for me because we were together before I even become a firefighter. So she was with me when I was a plumber. So we're good. But yeah. Yeah. You're with me when I was delivering laundry for the hotel. But yeah, there were times that we got called out to a structure fire. And like I'm standing there doing something, the fire's out. So I'm standing there and I've tucked my coat off, because it's hot. And I'm just, standing there cooling off or whatever. And like some random, I don't even know how old, could have been 17. But, multiple times, some random chick walk up and hand me her phone number and be like, and I'm like, put it in my pocket and act like I'm going to keep it, get back to the station, right in the trash. Now, some of the guys I worked with, they called the numbers. I am willing to say that at my station, the one where I worked, I was literally the only guy on my shift that was not cheating on their wife. Like, they all were. One of them was cheating on his wife with a damn cop. And I think she was married too. And that's awkward when you walk out into the parking lot behind the bay and like, this dude's just going to town on some cop against the cop car. It's like, really? Come on, bro. I mean, not that I'd ever rat them out to their wives, you know. There's got to be honor amongst thieves. You know, there's got to be honor amongst thieves, but when I started working for the city, the department I was in was underground utilities, and we cleaned lift stations. Now, the fact that you worked in sewage for 30 years, when I say clean lift stations, you know what I mean. And I tell you what, the weirdest one was always when we cleaned the lift station near the old folks' home, not that far from where I live. The freaking pump would be just clogged with condoms. And that lift station, all of the intake from that particular lift station came from that big assisted living old folks home. So them old people were freaking getting it on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we had this big freaking pump truck, and it also had like on the front end, it had like a crane. So, I mean, you could get down there and grab the pump and lift it out, and then you know, had enough water in the truck, you try to spray it off or whatever. We had a faucet near the thing, and you're spraying it off, and then, you know, you find out that it's all clogged up because it's full of condoms, used condoms. So there's like 80-year-olds in this old folks home just getting it on. And it's like, but then later I went to school and become a backflow technician, which meant I just rode around and tested backflows all day. That was okay, you know. But then my buddy, Bootstrap, he was all like, hey, you know, I'm going to Fire Academy. And I was like, oh, yeah? What's that about? What do you need to do that? And he told me. And I did the things that he said you needed to do. And next thing you know, there you go. That was the only time in my life that I've ever claimed veterans privilege, because I did the physical test and everything, and I did good. But there was one position and like 100 people showed up and tested. And so I did everything just how you need to do it. You know, it was all good. And there were a lot of people in the department that were pulling for me just because they liked me. But then I was like, veterans preference or whatever. And I was the only veteran. So everyone else, because the veterans preference thing knocks you up above anyone who's not a veteran to get a job. But I think you can only use it like once. Not sure. I'd have to reread it. I mean, it's not like I can just roll in anywhere and be like, veterans privilege, give me all your shit. But yeah. And then the problem was some of those guys that had showed up to test, they had friends in the department. And since I got on because of veterans privilege, they were super mad at me for like years. They were mad at me. Like, you know, how mad were they at me? Mad enough that at one point, one of them pissed me off so bad that I told him that on the morrow at 7:30, when we are relieved, good sir, I shall travel to thine home and lay upon you an ass whipping. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm sick of this shit. You're always talking shit, always trying to make it out like I don't know what I'm doing and shit. So here's the deal. Tomorrow, when we get off of work, I'm going to go to your house and whip your ass. And he started apologizing, and then I never had a problem after that. Because he was a big, we used to call him the walking toddler, because this MFer was like 6 foot tall, but he looked like New Year's baby from those old cartoons. He's just soft and round, you know, fucking marshmallow man. But he wanted to run his mouth, and I was like, dude, I'm not doing anything to risk my job. But eventually I had to tell him. I'll be at your house tomorrow. I'm going to beat your ass. And it worked because all of the guys that used to run their mouth shut up when they realized that wet wells, lift stations, oh my goodness, drainage pump, pipe inspector, nice. So did you run the robots down the pipes looking for bellies and shit like that? Because we had a crew that did that, and I actually tried to get on that job, but nah, you know, they were like, nah. Because there was only 2 of them, and they just rode around in a big box, like panel-sided truck. And they'd go to a manhole and pop the manhole open and just lower the robot down. And it is like a tracked remote control robot attached to, like, you know, a line. And it had cameras all over it. And you could sit in the back of the truck and drive this thing down a sewer pipe. And then you could use the joystick to move the camera around to look at shit and whatever. And then mark exactly where any problems are. Oh, so yeah. Man, I wanted to get in on that, but like I said, that job, the problem with where I worked was there were certain jobs, not the fire department, the water department. There were certain jobs that you were not getting unless you were kissing the boss's ass, showing up at his house every Friday to play frickin' poker or whatever the hell they did. I mean, it just was what it was. And I don't have that kind of mentality in me to like kiss up to the boss to try to get a promotion. It's just not in my soul, you know? And I've seen it done so many times. Like there's a dude right now, I think he might be a chief. He is a real piece of shit, and I'm not going to name his name. Not that anybody's going to see this anyway from there. This guy was a total piece of shit, right? But every day he would buy one of the battalion chiefs or the assistant chief lunch. And the assistant chief would be like, no, I don't. He'd be like, no, it was buy one, get one free, man. So it's whatever, right? And blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and eventually what happens? He ends up getting promoted, you know, because he's freaking on his knees, like cupping the balls, you know, firm grip on the shaft. And I'm just like, I'm not doing it. I refuse. The biggest drama I got into at work is some idiot become an atheist. And he got mad because we had some paintings on the wall that had like Christian iconography on them. Like there's one where you see a firefighter like walking through the smoke, and standing right behind him, you see like the shadow outline of Jesus. And it was just supposed to be there to be like, hey, you know, right? To make you feel good about shit. You know, the firefighters in the middle of maybe getting killed, but Jesus is there, so don't worry about it. And he complained so much that they had to remove those posters. So I went to the chief and I'm like, look, I disagree with this shit entirely. I want those posters. And he's like, what? And I said, I want them. I said, give them to me. I'll give them to my mom. I swear they'll be hung on a wall and be looked at every single day. And the chief was like, fine. Gave them to me. And I'll tell you what, at my mom's house in Kentucky, those are on the wall. And, you know, she prays for firefighters every day when she says her prayers because, you know, I almost killed her. You know, she was just constantly waiting to, what's up, Doc? How you doing, bro? Like she was constantly waiting to get a phone call about how I was dead or something. But, you know, that's how moms are. You know, they're always worried about you. But, yep. I'll put a link in if you want it. I mean, if you don't want it, I understand. It's still all good. But, Yeah, and me and that guy kind of stopped being friends after that too. The guy that yeah, when I got there, we already had it. And honestly, the whole time I was there, which was like 7 years in that department, the only people who ever got assigned to that truck were like the oldest people. So since at the time I was like maybe, I don't know, 30, I was never getting on that truck. But like the 50-year-old guys that were kind of close to retirement, they would get on the truck. And I have to admit, I'm not jealous about that. You know what I mean? Because I think our boss was just trying to, the guys that were close to retirement, he was just trying to give them a job that wasn't going to kill them. You know what I mean? And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, cleaning out lift stations, it's not all that bad. I mean, once you get kind of used to the smell, it's okay. But like I said, it just always amazed me when we had to do it quite often, clean out the lift station by the old folks home, because it was always just crammed full of condoms. And you got to get those out, and you got to do it safely, because you don't want to reach up in that sump pump and have it go off, because I mean, supposedly you're supposed to make sure it's completely whatever, but you never know. So if you reach up in that sump pump trying to grab some shit and it were to turn on, well, goodbye to that. It's gone. Forget about it, right? And then you'd probably just die from all the sepsis that you would get from all the stuff in that thing. But yeah, I 100% believe that our boss was saving that job for the old people. And that's, like I said, I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. I'm not mad. If a couple of dudes that were kind of beat up, knees going out, whatever, got to finish off their 25 or whatever and go on and retire, that's fine. That's okay. I like that. That's good. Yeah, that's one thing. And another thing that I didn't know at the time, I actually learned this in the fire department, is if you rub some, that stuff you put on your chest that's supposed to like make you feel better. It's like a cream. Like when you're young, and if you got cold, maybe your mom would rub it on your chest. I forget what it's called now, but if you knew you were going to deal with a truly stinky situation, which did happen quite a lot in the fire department, we carried that in the ambulance, and you just take a little bit of it and dab it under your nose, and yeah, you can't smell shit. Yeah, vapor rub. You put a little bit of that under your nose blind to the world. I mean, you will not smell anything. And we use that quite a bit because, I mean, when you get a call for funny smell, it turns out funny smell is some dude died 3 weeks ago, and what remains of his body is laying on the bed, and you got to go in. Little Vicks vapor rub. If you're really hardcore, you just put your mask and SCBA on. And that way you ain't got to worry about it at all, because, but go in, look at it, be like, yeah, he's dead, leave. Because paramedics, if the patient is blatantly dead, you don't have to do anything. You can just go home. You know what I mean? We don't put dead people in the back of our rescue, ever. And anyone who makes it into the back of the rescue never dies. And that's a play on kind of words, because if we get them in the back of the rescue and one of us is doing compressions, as long as someone's doing compressions, that patient's alive. And then you get to the hospital and the doctor walks up and has a look at it and he tells you, hey, stop compressions. And you stop compressions and the doctor looks at the clock and says, time of death, whatever. There you go. So see, that's the trick, right? You tell people no one ever dies in a rescue. They don't. Because of that right there. That's the reason. And then after that, you go into the break room and you grab some of those mini Cokes and maybe a banana or two. Because the hospitals around here, they keep restrooms. Like, okay, restrooms, duh. They keep recuperation rooms for firefighters. And it's basically a little room with some comfortable furniture and a couple of mini fridges and a pot full of coffee. And while you're doing your paperwork after a call, you can go in there and sit down and eat a banana or some kind of fruit. They always keep a fruit bowl there. Pears, I love pears. And they had the Coke products in the really little cans. And so or you can have coffee, whatever you like, they hooked you up. And that was really nice of the hospital. I mean, they didn't have to. Hell, Celebration Hospital was the best because their break room had a Slurpee machine in it. So if you delivered a patient to that hospital, you walk out of there with a big ass Slurpee. I mean, who don't like a Slurpee, right? I mean, right. Everybody likes Slurpees. So I remember one time a guy that worked at our department come in. He's like, hey, guys. And we're like, hey, what's up? And he's like, nothing much. My sister's having a baby. And we're like, well, congratulations to her. And he was all like, no, dude, she's out in the car having a baby. We had to run out there and check her out. And it turned out that there was enough time to get her in the back of the rescue into a hospital for the delivery. But I will never forget like how he walked in and just nonchalantly was like, my sister's having a baby. And of course we're all like, congratulations, man. Awesome. No, she's in the car having a baby. Oh my God. What a goofball. What a goofball, Yeah, some people have a hard time with that. The Army taught me not to. Now, the worst call I've ever been on, and it's worse than cleaning any lift station in the universe, is we ran on this woman who had an upper and lower GI bleed and had vomited and pooped all over herself while laying on a couch and had been laying there long enough that the people who found her thought she was dead. And we ran in there and oh my God, because nothing smells as bad as curdled blood, like rotten blood, rancid blood, mixed with poop, diarrhea. And at first it didn't smell really bad. It just smelled bad. But when we grabbed her and lifted her up, right, we broke the seal. So all of the stuff that we were smelling originally was the dry stuff around her, right? When we picked her up, broke the seal, all the fresh stuff was under her. That's when we got hit. And it was just like, one of the guys just ran out. Like he literally turned around and ran out of the house. But me and my buddy, we got her on the gurney and got her out of there. And thanks to one of the best medics I ever worked with, even if he was a freaking bipolar asshole most of the time. By the time we got to the hospital, this old lady was sitting up, looking around, asking like questions like, how'd she get here? What's going on? You know? So he brought her back because she looked like she was dying. I don't know what he did because that day I was driving, or as my buddy Vince, another medic, would call it, I was the sky captain. When you're driving the rescue, you're sky captain. And that means you basically just grab the bags in the stretcher while the guy who's acting medic does the medicing. And so as an EMT, not a paramedic, you catch your share of shit from paramedics, because the thing you want on a truck is 2 paramedics so that you can take turns each shift being paramedic or not. And when you don't have that and you got to be the paramedic like every single day for years on end, some of those guys get testy about that shit. You know what I mean? Like one of the guys I knew, really good guy, he was on the box as a paramedic for 20 years. 20 years straight. Because it was just the shift he was on and the crew he was with. They didn't have any paramedics to give him a break. So he got to be the paramedic every shift. It's just like, damn, bro. He made it, though. He retired. Yeah. So, you know, good for him. He made it. He made it through that freaking whatever. But see, I was lucky on my shift. We had tons of medics. You know, pretty much just about everyone was a medic. So, you know, if anybody wanted to switch off or do whatever, you know, it was okay. Now, why they didn't switch crews up, I don't know. But that's not something that often happens in my experience. If you get a crew and everybody on the crew kind of gets along and they're doing the job, usually your battalion chief, the bat chief as we call him, is not going to mess with you. You know what I mean? They're not going to mess with you because they are not wanting to break up a winning team. You know what I mean? You know? But if you get mad at somebody and you take a swing at them or something, a lot of times they'll keep it on the DL so that you don't get fired, and they'll just quietly move your ass to another shift. Never happened to me though. I was a B shift the whole time except on holidays. And then on holidays, I was whatever shift had to work that holiday because I was the newest hire. So I worked every Christmas for years, every Thanksgiving for years, every major holiday, Easter, Christmas, whatever, I worked. And they would move me to an entirely different shift at an entirely different station if they had to make sure that one of the more senior guys could have that day off. Just the way it goes, man. And I'm like, whatever. I need to look into what Bear was talking about earlier. Apparently, yep, Doc, I tell you no lies, my friend. I got lots of stories. Yeah, see, you don't get that in the fire department. You have what we call a long week and a short week. So 1 week you work 3 days and that ends up being 72 hours, right? That you're going to get paid for. But then the other week, you only work 2 days. So that's 48 hours you're getting paid for, right? And none of it's overtime. And a new paramedic gets $13 an hour. So my best year was like 30 something thousand, and I mean low, like 32, maybe 33,000. And you do not get a damn anything extra for anything. The only way you get OT pay is if you say you work your shift and then someone calls in and they really need somebody. The bat chief might be like, yeah, I need somebody to cover this shift. And if you're a go-getter, you might be like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? And then you'll get 24 hours of overtime. The problem is you never, ever, 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 ever want to do that when it's a long week. Because if you take that extra day on a long week, now you've worked, instead of 72, you've worked 96 hours. And the government will flat out take every bit of your overtime pay and more. Because it will push you into this different freaking category. And the Fed will come in and just rob your ass. You'll end up making less than had you not took that shift. I mean, it's bullshit. I mean, I got caught on that a couple times. Then I learned, like, yeah, I'm not going to be picking up any shifts on my long week because, you know, taxation is theft, and I'm tired of being robbed, I guess. I don't know. So Bear mentioned, I guess, that England's on the brink of civil war. What the F is going on over there? You know? See, I never had to worry about that man of war because we were always closed on holidays. But then they would have a guy who was on call, and he generally had a partner that would be on call too. And so if no one called with an emergency, they got paid like a little bit of a bonus. But if they got a lot of calls, they got paid like, you know, however much they worked plus more money per call. So if you did the on-call thing and you got a lot of calls and shit, you could you could be making a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. But you know, and luckily, see, originally the on-call thing was a mandatory thing. Everyone had to do it. But then our new foreman came in and he changed it to volunteer only. And it turned out that he changed it to volunteer only, still didn't have zero problem getting people to do on-call. A link to a Guts Space Marine. Oh my God. That's like a combination of a couple of my favorite things. So yeah, that was the thing they found out because the foreman before him, I guess, was afraid that if he didn't make it mandatory, no one would want to be on call. It turned out there were a lot of young dudes that were like, give me all the on call you want. Because, you know, I want to make that money. You know, like if you're a young guy and you're working for the wire department and you really ain't got much planned for a weekend, you ain't got kids or some shit, you could roll in there and freaking add a couple $100 extra at least to your paycheck. Few, I should say, not a couple, few. And I knew guys that would take on call. I know a guy that will take on call he would take it every time if they'd let him, which right now they're letting him because, you know, that extra money comes in handy, right? So it's pretty crazy, right? Okay, I can hear Jeremy Hamley in there saying that a restaurant is doing something about rowdy teens and everyone's mad. And a lot of people aren't mad. They're saying, hey, everyone keeps telling you your kid's an asshole. You're the one that don't believe it. Yeah, I get it, bro. I know you and I have talked and commiserated about that. Like I told you last time, man, where my drill sergeant told me exactly what I would do, and I did exactly what he said I would do. Well, he told all of us, and I'm sure some of us didn't do it, but I know I did. I know a couple of people who did. So you get released from Benning, you're a new infantryman. They send you to your frickin' place. I went to Fort Stewart, or Fort Swampy as we called it. And the next thing you know, you're hooked up with some whore, and you're up to your eyeballs in debt for some sports car you didn't need, or some stupid shit like that. And then if you're extra stupid like I was, you let the whore be on your bank account, so that while you're doing 290 days in the field training to kill people because you're infantry, she's taking her boyfriend out to lunch, having a great time just driving around in the car, whatever. Yeah, I know all about that shit. I'm not bitter. Actually, yes, I'm a little bitter. You know what I mean? The only good thing I can say that came out of that relationship is we had 2 kids, and the DNA test shows that they're both mine. So there you go. I mean, it could have been up in the air. I'm serious, especially since she told one of my daughters that she wasn't my daughter, that another person was her father. And my daughter believed her for a long time, I think. But then DNA test, boom, you are the father. Right? I mean, how evil of a bitch do you gotta be to do that to a guy? You know what I mean? To tell his young children that that's not your dad. Plus, it's not like it makes her look good. She's talking to her daughter and being like, hey, let me translate. I'm such a filthy whore that I cheated on your father and you're illegitimate. Because that's basically what she's saying. And my whole life, how am I supposed to know, right? What's going on there? But I knew because the daughter in question looks just like, you can tell she's my daughter. She had my black hair. She's got my black eyes. She's got my pale skin. I mean, she looked like me, right? But the thing I didn't mention, and I probably should, is how traumatic does that gotta be if you're a young kid and your mom is telling you you're illegitimate and your dad is not your dad? I mean, I think that probably messed somebody up a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that would mess some people up. And, luckily she's strong and, tough girl. I mean, I raised her to be, so, slap on the back for me. But Yeah, I did. Neither of I didn't raise my daughters to be sissies. I raised my daughters to handle business, and so she's good. But somebody with a weaker constitution, that kind of shit could lead to anything, But the problem was, and this is something I know some of you will, commiserate with a little bit, is their biological spawning pool, their teloxyl axolotl tank, didn't care for them. You know what I mean? And as soon as she could get away from them and they're old enough and whatever, she did. So, she told my daughters all this horrible shit, but it's not like she actually loved the kids anyway. They were just a means for her to live off freaking child support, which she did. And child support in the state of Florida is such a scam because you can't send the money like to her or whatever. You have to send the money to a disbursement agency and they charge $15. So if you're paying child support for kids for like 18 years, figure you're paying $15 a month for 18 years, right? And so my math sucks. 15 times 12, that's going to be $180 a year, I think. That's going to be $180 a year for 18 years, in theory. Worst case scenario, let's say. And it's like, hey, good job, profiting off the suffering of others, I mean, why give a shit about the poor guy who has had his whole life wrecked because some hooker wanted to be a hooker, Let's just go ahead and take all his money and just do everything we can to make his life hard, If he gets on hard times, hell, throw him in jail. I mean, because if he goes to jail, obviously he'll pay child support from jail, right? Oh, wait, no. Child support in the United States is the only civil crime in existence where you can go to jail. No other civil crime can lead you to jail. Isn't that crazy? And you know who you think is, you think shady fucking Bill Clinton, because he ran on that. We're going to get these deadbeat dads. Because the U.S. government was sick and tired of paying welfare moms. So instead of cutting off the welfare moms, they went after the dads, who granted maybe were not paying child support. But the problem is then normal people get caught up in the bullshit. And now you've gone from, getting the deadbeat dads to everyone who gets divorced is getting effed over. Hey, baby.
I bought you a present.
You bought me a present? Why?
I got you one of those cooling comforters, just like a little small one for you to try.
Oh my God, nice. My wife bought me one of those cooling comforters to try. Thank you so much. That is such a generous and thoughtful gift because she knows that I'm a hot sleeper. Like I have to strip down and have a fan blowing directly on me. And because, I just, I get overheated. So hopefully, wish me luck, guys. Hopefully this cooling thing she bought me whenever it arrives will be the answer to my prayers. And I'll be able to lay down on the bed and cover up with that thing and be like, ooh, Because I get all my best sleep when it's like freaking freezing. But the problem is the wife, she don't like the freezing, right? She likes the warm. See, that's why we've got a big like walk-in shower, and we used to shower together, but then I started this routine where I only shower in like cold water, super cold water, right? And she ain't got time for that shit. You know what I'm saying? She don't want any part of that. So unfortunately, that means we don't shower together as often as we used to. But fortunately, it means I don't know. I don't know if it's a myth and it's just in my head or whatever. But when I get out of the shower after taking like a damn near, ice cold shower, when I get out, I feel better. Well, what happened there? Let's see. Okay. Huh. So my camera decided it didn't want to work anymore. That's weird. But the front facing camera on the nope, unable to set that. That's weird. I wonder if I got a virus or something in this computer that just pops up every now and then to F with me. See me? Like when we go to Kentucky, the wife and I, we almost always go in the autumn, like just before winter, because one, it's absolutely beautiful up there in the autumn. The leaves are changing and, whatever. And two, I love the autumn weather because it'll be a nice steady, say 40 degrees all day. And then at night it'll get good and cold and I like it. I love it, but yeah, I like put on my jacket and walk up the hill and look around at the property and stuff, and it's like freaking 40 degrees. But what's weird is it'll be super sunny, and when you stand in the sun you actually feel warm, right? But then the second you walk into the shade, the temperature drops. So, I mean, I know that's not weird. That's just how nature works. But I'm just saying it's what happens up there. And then, we go down and hang out with a family member, and she's got an apple tree on her property. And if you want to grab an apple or 10 or 100, because, they have so many, and it's like, it's cool. It's just a really cool thing. Yeah, it's about time for me to get off anyway. But yeah, sounds like Manowar and I have been through the same ringer, maybe. And Manowar, I'm glad you made it, brother. And all you other guys, if you end up having to go through it, you're in my thoughts and prayers. Because Yeah, it's some straight up bullshit. And you just got to do the best you can because, yeah. Yeah, that's what it was here. I mean, I don't know, man, where if you're in Florida or wherever you are, but I'm in Orlando, and you just pretty much described our temperature. Overcast, humid as hell, and hot. That's Florida. There's like 2 weeks out of the year in Florida where the weather's actually awesome, you know, where it's like 60 degrees, 70 degrees all day, and the sun's out and it's beautiful, and you know, you're not getting ate alive by every bug known to man. So, you know, uh, mm, yeah. And then the rest of the year, it's straight up a freaking, you know, monster movie. You know, it's like when we talk smack about Australia. If you're ever in a group of people talking smack about Australia, you can tell if any of the people in the group are from Florida. Because if you're talking about how deadly the creatures are over there and blah, 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 you know, as you do, uh, the guy from Florida, he's laughing. Because nothing you mention about Australia is going to impress Florida man. Because Florida man deals with alligators, crocodiles, green anacondas, Burmese pythons, herpes monkeys, spring breakers that come down for Black College spring break month, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, Florida is just crazy, you know. Your ever present random lives in a trailer park somewhere meth addict, and people who don't know how to drive, you know, and everyone is armed. Everyone is armed. And the Villages, which is a community for 65 plus people, is the one place in the entire continent that has the most STDs per capita or whatever, per population. Yeah. Because like I said, them old people, man, they're raw dogging like crazy. And I kind of understand it because it's like, if you're 80 years old, you're probably not afraid of AIDS because you're definitely going to die by something else before AIDS kills you, right? Like AIDS is not an issue. And if everyone there has, if everyone you're hanging with has herpes already, I mean, shit, you ain't worried about that. So yeah, the Villages, look it up. Look that shit up. There's like everyone there has an STD. Like if I had to go there for work or something, I don't think I would shake anyone's hand. The Villages, America's #1 retirement community, where we're constantly having key parties and three-ways, and everybody's got freaking AIDS or something. Yep. Florida is shaped like it is for a reason. Yeah, exactly. It's funny, but it's true. Well, I think since my computer has basically told me to go F myself, that I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Couldn't eat all my Mexican food because there was so much of it. So I think I'm going to go eat that for dinner. And I might play some Dune. Maybe my brother will be on. Who knows? Hard to tell these days. But Peace and love to all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest